Imagine a world where the thrill of Pokémon isn't measured by badges or battles, but by the quiet joy of building, exploring, and simply living alongside your favourite creatures. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a Pokémon fan like me, you've probably spent countless hours exploring vibrant regions, discovering new Pokémon, and chasing that perfect team to call your own. But what if I told you that the next big Pokémon adventure isn't about gyms, badges, or epic showdowns? What if it's about something way more chill, something that lets you build, explore, and just vibe with your favourite creatures in a paradise of your own making? That's exactly what Pokémon Pokopia is promising. And today, in this massive deep dive, we're unpacking everything you need to know about this cozy spin-off that's set to redefine what a Pokémon game can be. Imagine waking up on a lush, untamed island, the sun filtering through palm leaves, waves lapping at the shore, and not a single rival trainer in sight. No Pokeballs to throw, no type matchups to stress over. Just you, transformed into a human-like form as a clever Ditto, ready to roll up your sleeves and bring life back to a forgotten corner of the Pokémon world. Pokémon Pokopia isn't your typical monster-collecting RPG. It's a Minecraft-type sandbox where the battles are replaced by building, the rivalries by friendships, and the grind by genuine, heartfelt creation. Developed by the folks at Omega Force, the team behind those epic Dynasty Warriors games, and published by Nintendo and the Pokémon Company, this one's exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2, dropping on March 5th, 2026. I'm hoping this is just a rumour and that they'll also release a version for the original Switch. But if you've been holding out for that next-gen upgrade, this might just be the game that pushes you over the edge. But before we go any further, I know many of you like to fall asleep to my videos, or you watch it in the background. Feel free to bookmark this video and return to it whenever you need some help falling asleep. I will keep my narration calm and gradually dim the brightness for you. The only thing I ask in return is that you click the thumbs up this video and leave a comment, as I love reading them. Thank you again for all your support. Now back to the video, let me paint the picture for you. The world of Pokopia feels like a whisper from a bygone era in Pokémon lore. Humans once walked these lands, building civilizations and coexisting with Pokémon, but now they're gone, vanished without a trace, leaving behind ruins overgrown with vines and echoes of what was. It's mysterious, a little eerie, but not in a scary way. More like that nostalgic pull you feel wandering an abandoned playground. Your role? You're the restorer, the one who steps in to heal the land. Guided by the wise Professor Tangrowth, a towering vine-wrapped mentor who's equal parts botanist and Pokémon sage, you'll set out to revitalise your island, turning it from a wild, resource-scarce rock into a thriving haven buzzing with life. At its heart, Pokopia's gameplay loop is pure relaxation with a dash of creativity. You start small, gathering berries, chopping wood with the help of a friendly Pokémon pal, maybe breaking open some rocks to uncover hidden gems. But it's not just mindless collection. Every action ties into a bigger vision. Use those resources to build structures, from cozy cabins to elaborate gardens. Grow plants that attract new Pokémon friends. Customize every inch of your island to reflect your style. Want a waterfall cascading into a lily pad pond? Done. A treetop village for bird Pokémon? Why not? It's got that satisfying blocky charm reminiscent of Minecraft, but softened with the whimsical, colourful aesthetic of Animal Crossing. Think vibrant palettes, adorable animations, and a soundtrack that's all gentle flutes and rustling leaves. And here's where it gets really magical. The Pokémon themselves. You don't command them in fights, you befriend them. Each one brings unique moves that serve as your toolkit for island life. Need to water a massive field of crops? Call on a water type like Squirtle to hose things down. Chopping down a stubborn tree, a Machop's brute strength has you covered. Breaking boulders for rare minerals. Geodude's got the rocky punch. As you bond, these Pokémon become part of your daily routine, helping out during the day and curling up in custom-built homes at night. Real-time day-night cycles mean you'll watch sunsets, paint the sky in pinks and oranges, or huddle by a campfire under starry skies with dynamic weather adding that extra layer of immersion. Rain that nourishes your gardens or fog that hides secret coves to explore. But it's not all solo island hopping. Multiplayer lets you invite friends and their Pokémon over for visits, turning your paradise into a shared social hub. Trade resources, collaborate on massive builds, or just hang out watching your Pokémon play. It's designed for those low-key sessions where you pop in for 20 minutes or lose an entire weekend to perfecting your setup. Now let's talk about what makes Pokopia stand out in the Pokémon family tree. Some of the information here is based on a mix of official sources, online rumours, and early data mining. I'll do my best to be accurate, but take a bit of creative liberty, as details may change. You're playing as Ditto, that unassuming blob who can transform into anything. In this game, that ability might not just be a gimmick, it could be your superpower. Imagine shifting into a Pidgeot to soar over cliffs and spot distant resources, or mimic a Nidoking to bulldoze paths through thickets. And get this, there are brand new Pokémon Forms debuting here, tailored to this nature-reviving theme. Picture Peakychu, a pale, glowing Pikachu variant with drooping ears and a smaller-than-average tail, emitting a mysterious light from her body. She's believed to be female, her heart-shaped tail hinting at her identity, and her muted, ghostly colour palette gives her an ethereal presence that has led fans to speculate she might be a ghost type. Alongside her, you'll encounter Mosslax, a moss-covered Snorlax, and Smearguru, a paint-splattered Smeargle. These new forms aren't just aesthetic, they tie into gameplay mechanics that encourage nurturing the environment and restoring balance, rather than simply battling or conquering. As you explore, questions emerge. Why is the island deserted? What stories linger in the ruins? Professor Tangrowth drops hints through heartfelt dialogue, urging you to observe and respect the land and its Pokémon. It's about sustainability, about building a Pokémon paradise where every creature has a place. No rushing to the end credits here. The journey is the reward, with endless ways to expand your island and deepen those bonds. On the tech side, Pokopia's embracing some fresh Nintendo innovation. It uses the new Game Key card format. Think a physical card that unlocks the full digital download, blending collectible charm with modern convenience. Clocking in at around 10 GB, it's not a space hog, so you can dive in without clearing your entire SD card. Pre-orders kicked off back in November 2025, and if you're like me, you've probably already snagged one. Fans are buzzing, but there are whispers of curiosity too, like how evolution mechanics will play out in a non-battle world, or the lingering mystery of those absent humans. Is it a lore deep cut or set up for something bigger? We'll speculate on all that as we go. This game feels like Pokémon's cozy evolution, a breath of fresh air in a franchise that's always innovating. If you've ever dreamed of living among Pokémon without the pressure of tournaments, Pokopia is your ticket. It's about creation, connection, and that quiet joy of watching your world come alive. Stick around for the next 3 hours as we break it all down. From core mechanics to hidden Easter eggs, fan theories to pre-order tips. Whether you're a die-hard collector or just dipping your toes into the series, there's something here for you. Hit that like button if you're excited, subscribe for more Pokémon deep dives, and let's get started on this island restoration adventure. What are you most hyped for? The building, the new forms, or unraveling the story? Drop it in the comments below. Think back to the roots of Pokémon. It started with Red and Blue in 1996, a simple tale of adventure and collection on the grid-like paths of Kanto. Over the decades, it's ballooned into a multimedia empire, anime, cards, merch, but the games have always centered on that thrill of the catch and the clash. Scarlet and Violet shook things up with open worlds, but Pokopia, it's flipping the script entirely. No wild encounters to grind, instead peaceful summons where Pokémon approach you, curious and eager to help, It's like if Palworld met Stardew Valley, but with Pikachu instead of chickens. Let me break down the core loop a bit more, because once you get it, you'll see why it's so addictive. You arrive on your island via a gentle boat ride, Ditto's human form feeling fresh and versatile, agile enough to climb vines, sturdy for hauling logs. Day 1. Scout for basics. Berries from bushes, stones from beaches. Befriend your first Pokémon, maybe a Bidoof, whose simple gnaw move clears debris like butter. As days pass, you unlock recipes. Craft a watering can from bamboo and a shell, or a hammer from iron ore, smelted in a makeshift forge. Build a garden plot, plant seeds from wildflowers, and watch as your water Pokémon buddy irrigates it under the morning sun. The customization? Endless. Furniture isn't just decorative, it's functional. A hammock that lulls Pokémon to sleep faster, boosting their energy for tasks. Pokémon homes range from burrows for Diglett to aerial nests for Starly, each attracting specific species and unlocking new abilities. Gardens can be themed. A herb patch for healing items, a fruit orchard for trade goods. Weather plays in too. Storms might flood low areas, forcing adaptive builds like dams with ground types, while sunny days accelerate growth. Multiplayer amps the social side. Invite codes let friends visit, their Pokémon tagging along to assist or just roam. Co-op builds mean tackling big projects, like a communal lighthouse to guide nocturnal visitors. It's seamless, no lobbies, just pop in and out, leaving gifts or notes carved into trees. Story-wise, it's light but poignant. Professor Tangrowth isn't just a guide, he's a philosopher, quoting lines about nature's balance. Quests emerge organically. A wilted forest needs revitalizing, revealing ancient human artifacts that hint at their disappearance, perhaps a cataclysm or a migration to another realm. No spoilers, but it ties into Pokémon's broader mythos without overwhelming the chill vibe. New forms add flair. Peakychu evolves from standard Pikachu in high-altitude areas, gaining rock-slide resistance for mountain builds. Mosslax, a regional Snorlax, hibernates in moss beds, awakening to fertilized soil with nutrient-rich yawns. The Smeargle alt form paints murals that grow into real flora, a creative twist on its sketch ability. Technically, the Game Key card is Nintendo's nod to physical media in a digital age. Scan it to download. Keep it as a collector's item with art variants. 10 GB means quick installs, optimized for Switch 2's power, promising smooth 60 FPS even in bustling multiplayer. Fan reactions are mixed excited. Love for the cozy shift, concerns over the card format's accessibility, and endless theories on human absence, alien abduction, Pokémon uprising. Evolution details are TBD, but expect transformative growth tied to environmental harmony. Pokopia's aesthetic is its soul, blocky yet beautiful, with hand-painted textures, and a colour palette of earthy greens, sunset oranges, and ocean blues. The OST, soothing chiptunes evolving into orchestral swells during milestones. It's sustainable gaming, encouraging thoughtful resource use, mirroring real-world eco-messages without preaching. This isn't just a game, it's a sanctuary. In a fast-paced world, Pokopia invites you to slow down, create, connect. Over the next hours, we'll cover gameplay breakdowns, form spotlights, lore dissections, and more. Ready to transform your view of Pokémon? Let's build this paradise together. Envision the first transformation. As Ditto, you spot a flock of Pidgey. Mimic one, and suddenly you're gliding, wind in your feathers? The freedom hits different. Mechanics like this make exploration joyful. Swim as a Gyarados to reach underwater caves. Burrow as a sand shrew for hidden troves. Befriending is key. No capture. It's about trust. Feed, play, help. Watch affection meters fill with heartwarming animations, like a Eevee nuzzling your leg. Their moves level up through use, say Bulbasaur's Vine Whip, extending to lasso distant items. Building scales from simple to sublime. Start with thatch roofs, progress to stone mansions or floating platforms. Sustainability matters. Overharvest and areas barrenify, forcing restoration quests. It's educational fun, teaching balance. Day-night adds rhythm. Dawn for foraging, noon for builds, dusk for stories around fires. Weather events like blooms after rain reward preparation. Multiplayer shines in events. Seasonal festivals where islands link for Pokémon parades. Story arcs gently unfold. Restore biomes, uncover logs from lost humans, bond with legendaries like a serene Celebi variant. Forms integrate seamlessly. Peakychu's Thunderclap clears storms. Moslax's Bellyflop tills fields. Business-wise, pre-orders include digital bonuses like exclusive seeds. Fans debate evolutions, perhaps environment-driven, no stones needed. Ultimately, Pokopia's about harmony. It's Pokémon for the soul, a 2026 must-play. Join me as we explore every petal and pixel. The dawn of a new Pokémon era, Pokémon Pokopia, has just been officially announced, and it's shaking up everything we thought we knew about the franchise. This isn't your typical Pokémon game where you're grinding through battles and collecting badges. Instead, it's a full-fledged life simulation spin-off that's set to redefine what it means to live in the Pokémon universe. Picture this. No rival trainers to face off against, no Elite Four showdowns, just you, immersed in a world of creation, friendship, and gentle exploration. The Pokémon Company dropped the bombshell during their latest Nintendo Direct, and the internet exploded with reactions. Fans are buzzing because Pokopia marks a bold departure, crafted by Omega Force, the team behind those epic Dynasty Warriors titles, but now channeling their energy into something far more serene. Published jointly by Nintendo and the Pokémon Company, it's exclusive to the upcoming Switch 2, launching on March 5th, 2026. Yeah, you heard that right. Mark your calendars, because this is the kind of game that's going to pull you in for hundreds of hours without a single Pokémon faint in sight. Let me take you back to that announcement moment. It was right in the middle of the Direct, after all the usual hype for Mario and Zelda updates, when the screen faded to this lush, overgrown island vista. Waves lapping at sandy shores, vines twisting up ancient ruins, and Pokémon wandering freely without a Pokeball in sight. Then the title card hits, Pokémon Pokopia. The crowd, virtual and real, lost it. What makes this unveiling so groundbreaking? For starters, it's the first Pokémon title to fully embrace the life sim genre, drawing inspiration from cozy staples like Animal Crossing, but infusing it with that unmistakable Pokémon magic. No more turn-based combat dictating your every move. Here the focus shifts to building a life, quite literally, on a customizable island paradise. You're not a trainer, you're a survivor, a creator, a friend to the wild Pokémon around you. It's like if Pokémon traded its battling arenas for blooming gardens and sturdy workshops. And honestly, doesn't that sound refreshing after decades of the same old formula? Now dive deeper into what this means for you as a player. You step into the shoes, or should I say, the squishy form, of a Ditto that's undergone a miraculous transformation into a human-like figure. Why Ditto? It's the ultimate shapeshifter, right? That adaptability is at the heart of Pokopia's design. In this post-human world, where the remnants of civilization are overgrown and forgotten, your Ditto protagonist wakes up on a deserted island, amnesiac and alone, but brimming with potential. The humans? They're gone, vanished without explanation, leaving behind echoes of their world in rusted machinery and faded signs. It's a setting that sparks so many questions. Who were they? What happened? But instead of dark mysteries, Pokopia leans into coziness. You start small, gathering berries from bushes, chopping wood with the help of a friendly Bidoof, and slowly piecing together a home from the island's natural bounty. The world feels alive, with real-time day-night cycles that make sunsets over the ocean feel magical, and dynamic weather that can turn a clear morning into a gentle rain shower, perfect for watching your plants perk up afterward. Teasing this cozy vibe, imagine waking up to the soft glow of dawn, your character stretching on a hammock you've woven from vines. Nearby, a group of Pokémon, maybe a Pikachu variant called Peakychu, with its fur dusted in mountain snow, nibbles on fruits you've planted. No battles here. Instead, you befriend them through shared activities. Offer a treat, play a little game of tag using their speed, and soon they're part of your crew. Each Pokémon brings unique abilities to your island life. That Peakychu, it can generate sparks to light campfires or power simple machines you build. Then there's Moslax, a Snorlax form that's bulked up with leafy armour, ideal for breaking boulders or hauling heavy logs without breaking a sweat. And don't get me started on the alternate Smeargle form, which lets you paint murals on your structures or even customise the colours of your gardens with artistic flair. Your Ditto can transform temporarily into these Pokémon too, borrowing their moves for quick tasks, like turning into a Squirtle to water your crops during a dry spell, or a Scyther to slice through thick foliage. It's all about harmony, sustainability, using the Pokémon's natural talents to nurture the land rather than conquer it. The core loop pulls you in like a warm embrace. You forage for resources, stones from riverbeds, fibres from wild grasses, seeds scattered by the wind. From there, it's off to your workbench, where you craft everything from basic shelters to elaborate Pokémon habitats. Want a cozy den for a family of Eevee? Build it with woven branches and soft moss bedding? Or expand into full gardens, planting rows of berries that evolve seasonally, attracting rarer Pokémon as your island blooms. The satisfaction comes from watching your efforts pay off. A barren plot turns into a vibrant orchard. Structures rise from sketches to sturdy homes, and your Pokémon friends multiply, each one adding their personality to the mix. Multiplayer ties it all together. Invite up to 3 friends to visit your island, bringing their own Pokémon pals for collaborative building sessions. Maybe you're teaming up to construct a massive bridge across a chasm, or hosting a festival where everyone's creatures showcase their talents. It's social without the stress, just pure shared joy in creation. But let's talk about that post-human tease, because it's what sets Pokopia apart and has fans theorising non-stop. The world is a beautiful ruin, abandoned labs half swallowed by jungle, beaches littered with weathered boats, and hidden coves revealing old human artefacts. Your mentor, Professor Tangrowth, appears early on as this wise, vine-entwined figure who guides you with cryptic advice. Tangrowth's got that perfect Pokémon Professor vibe, but twisted for this era. No Pokédex lectures, just lessons on ecology and renewal. The goal? Restore the island, piece by piece, turning desolation into a thriving Pokémon paradise. Why are humans absent? The game hints at it through environmental storytelling. Faded murals of trainers long gone, echoes of battles in scarred landscapes, but it never dives into tragedy. Instead, it celebrates what's next. A world where Pokémon live freely, and you, as the transformed Ditto, bridge the gap. It's empowering, almost therapeutic, to roleplay as this adaptable being who can heal the land in ways rigid human trainers never could. Technically, Pokopia is pushing boundaries for the Switch too. It's built around the new game keycard format, where the physical cartridge doesn't hold the full game. Instead, it triggers a 10 GB digital download. Some fans are grumbling about that, worried it feels like a half measure for physical collectors, but pre-orders opened in November 2025 and they're flying off shelves. The aesthetic blends Minecraft's blocky creativity with Animal Crossing's whimsical charm. Think voxel-style building for that satisfying snap of blocks fitting together, but softened with hand-drawn Pokémon animations and a soundtrack of gentle flutes and rustling leaves. No high-stakes timers or fail states, Everything moves at your pace, encouraging you to sip virtual tea while planning your next project. As you can imagine, the fan reactions are a whirlwind. Excitement over the cozy shift is huge. After years of battle-heavy games, this feels like a breath of fresh air for casual players. Parents love the educational angle on nature and teamwork, and speedrunners are already plotting how to complete an island in record time. But unknowns linger. How do evolutions work without battles? Will there be deeper lore on the human disappearance? And those new forms, Peakychu, Moslax, the Smeargle variant, are they catchable or just environmental? The announcement left us hungry for more, building that anticipation right up to the March 5th, 2026 release. If you're pre-ordering, do it soon. The exclusive Switch 2 tie-in means stock might be tight. This dawn of a new era isn't just a game. It's a statement from the Pokémon Company that the franchise can evolve beyond battles into something profoundly peaceful. You've spent years mastering types and strategies, but now get ready to master harmony instead. What if the real power of Pokémon has always been in connection, not conquest? Pokopia invites you to find out, one built bridge and befriended Bulbasaur at a time. And speaking of that shift from intense rivalries to creative freedom, up next in Chapter 2. From battlefields to building blocks, we'll explore how Pokopia completely reimagines gameplay, turning every tool and Pokémon ability into your new best friend for crafting the ultimate island escape. You won't want to miss how it all comes together. From battlefields to building blocks. Remember when Pokémon first exploded onto the scene back in 1996? It was all about those intense turn-based battles, catching wild creatures in the grass and grinding through gyms to become the ultimate champion. You know the drill, right? You'd spend hours strategizing type advantages, teaching moves, and evolving your team just to take down the Elite Four. That core RPG formula hooked millions, turning pocket monsters into a global phenomenon. But here's the thing, as the franchise grew, it didn't just stick to that battlefield blueprint. It started branching out, experimenting with wild ideas that flipped the script on what Pokémon could be. Take Pokémon Snap, for instance, released way back in 1999 for the Nintendo 64. Instead of flinging Pokeballs or commanding attacks, you hopped into a safari vehicle on a tropical island, snapping photos of Pokémon in their natural habitats. It was revolutionary, wasn't it? No violence, no rival trainers yelling at you to battle, just pure observation and creativity. You'd line up the perfect shot of a Bulbasaur peeking out from the bushes or a herd of Tauros stampeding across the plains, earning points based on how well you captured their quirky behaviours. That game showed us Pokémon could thrive outside the arena, inviting you to appreciate the world building and the creatures' personalities in a whole new light. And it wasn't a one-off. It sparked a wave of spin-offs that pushed boundaries even further. Fast forward through the years, and you see this evolution really take shape. Pokémon Mystery Dungeon turned the tables by letting you play as a Pokémon yourself, dropped into a dungeon-crawling adventure where strategy came from item management and team coordination, not just raw power levels. Or think about Pokémon Ranger, where you drew circles on the touchscreen to capture Pokémon with your stylus, emphasizing harmony over conquest. These weren't just side projects, they were bold experiments that expanded the universe, proving Pokémon could be about exploration, puzzles, and even rhythm games, like Pokémon Rhythm Heaven. You felt that shift, didn't you? From the high-stakes rivalries of Red and Blue to these lighter, more whimsical takes that let your imagination run wild without a single fainted Pokémon in sight. Now, enter Pokémon Pokopia, the latest in this lineage of boundary-pushing titles. and it's taking that experimental spirit to uncharted territories. This isn't your typical mainline entry with badges and legendaries to chase. No, Pokopia is a cozy life sim sandbox where battles take a backseat to building and befriending. Developed by Omega Force, a studio that's been crafting strategy epics for decades under Koei Tecmo, it's like mashing up the tactical depth of their Musou games with the adorable chaos of Pokemon's world. You see, Omega Force has a reputation for massive scale battles in titles like Dynasty Warriors, where you'd hack through hordes of enemies with precise timing and combo chains. But here, they're channeling that expertise into something far more serene: resource gathering, structure building, and nurturing a vibrant ecosystem on your very own island. Imagine this. You start as a Ditto, that squishy shapeshifter we've all loved since Generation 1, but transformed into a human-like form to blend in and get to work. No more transforming just for battle tricks. Now it's about utility and fun. You'll be chopping wood with the help of a friendly scyther, breaking rocks with a Geodude's raw strength, or watering vast gardens using a water type's gentle streams. It's all about that core loop. Collect materials from the lush environment, craft furniture and Pokemon habitats, and watch your island bloom into a paradise. Befriending Pokemon isn't about weakening them for capture. It's about earning trust through shared activities, unlocking their moves as tools to shape your world. Picture planting seeds that grow into towering trees overnight, or designing cozy dens where your new pals can rest and play. The real-time day-night cycle adds this immersive rhythm, sunsets casting golden hues over your builds, or rainy nights perfect for indoor crafting sessions. And with dynamic weather, you'll adapt on the fly, maybe sheltering under a makeshift roof during a storm while a flock of Pidgey seeks cover nearby. What makes Omega Force's touch so special here is how they infuse Koei Tecmo's strategy smarts into this peaceful setup. Those guys know a thing or two about managing large-scale operations, from orchestrating armies in historical simulations like Romance of the Three Kingdoms to the combo-heavy action of Warriors titles. In Pokopia, that translates to smart resource allocation and base-building mechanics that feel deep without overwhelming the cozy vibe. You'll plan your island layout like a general, plotting a campaign, but instead of sieges, it's about sustainable growth, balancing crop rotations, habitat variety, and even Pokemon migration patterns to keep everything harmonious. It's not mindless grinding, it's thoughtful progression where every decision, like choosing to build a pond for aquatic friends or a sunny meadow for grass types, ripples through your ecosystem. You won't believe how satisfying it feels when a group of Eevee evolutions starts frolicking in the space you've crafted just for them, their happiness boosting your yields and unlocking new customization options. But let's talk about how this game even came to be, because the partnership behind it is a game changer in itself. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company teaming up to publish Pokopia marks a bold move, one that's got the industry buzzing. Nintendo's got that hardware magic, especially with the Switch 2 exclusivity, ensuring seamless integration with the console's features like improved Joy-Con controls for precise building or enhanced online play. The Pokémon Company, on the other hand, brings the IP oversight, guaranteeing that every new form, like the fluffy Peakychu, a Pikachu variant with mountain climbing adaptations, or the verdant Mosslax, a Snorlax that's more gardener than glutton, stays true to the franchise's heart. This collaboration isn't just logistical, it's a statement. They're betting big on diversifying Pokemon beyond the Battle Royale formula, using their combined muscle to push innovative formats. Take the Game Key card, for example, a physical card that unlocks the full 10 GB digital download. It's a fresh twist on ownership, blending collectability with modern convenience, and pre-orders kicked off in November 2025 for a March 5th, 2026 release. Fans are already snapping them up, but there's some chatter about the format's novelty. Will it catch on, or spark debates on physical versus digital? Diving deeper into what sets Pokopia apart, consider the multiplayer element. You can invite friends and their Pokémon to visit your island, turning solo building into collaborative adventures. Maybe you team up to construct a massive greenhouse, or host a festival where everyone's Pokémon showcase their talents. Think a Pikachu light show or a match-up strength contest, all without a hint of competition. It's this social layer that echoes Omega Force's strategy roots, where coordinating with others feels like commanding a squad, but in the most feel-good way possible. And the aesthetic? It's a beautiful blend of Minecraft's blocky creativity and Animal Crossing's whimsical charm, all wrapped in Pokemon's vibrant colours. Sustainability is at the core. No over-harvesting resources or disrupting habitats. Instead, you're rewarded for eco-friendly choices, like replanting after gathering or creating migration paths for wild Pokémon. It taps into that growing desire for games that promote harmony, especially in a world where nature feels ever more precious. You might be wondering, how does this fit into Pokemon's broader evolution? Well, it's the natural next step from those early experiments. Snap showed us observation. Pokopia takes it to creation. Omega Force isn't just slapping their name on it. They're elevating the sandbox genre with layered systems that reward patience and ingenuity. Remember how Dynasty Warriors made you feel like a one-person army? Here, you'll feel like a one-person architect shaping a living world. And that mentor figure, Professor Tangrowth, guides you with vine-wrapped wisdom, dropping hints on advanced builds or Pokémon behaviours that make every session a learning curve. It's not about levelling up stats, it's about levelling up your connection to the Pokémon universe. As you restore this overlooked island, piece by piece, you'll uncover little stories in the details, a hidden cave with glowing crystals that attract rare fire types, or a beach where nocturnal Pokémon throw impromptu parties under the stars. The absence of humans adds this intriguing layer, making your efforts feel pioneering, like you're the first to breathe life back into a forgotten corner of the world. But why are the humans gone? What secrets does this empty landscape hold? That's the hook that pulls you deeper, and it's exactly what will unravel in the next chapter, the mystery of the empty world. Stick around because the revelations there will make you see Pokopia in a whole new light. The mystery of the empty world. In Pokémon Pokopia, the world you step into isn't the bustling battlegrounds of past games or the vibrant regions teeming with trainers. It's a silent expanse, a post-human landscape where the echoes of what once was hang heavy in the air. Picture this: crumbling skyscrapers wrapped in vines, streets cracked and reclaimed by wild grass, and abandoned vehicles frozen in time. Their doors ajar as if everyone just vanished. This isn't some distant apocalypse. It's a mystery right at the heart of the game, pulling you in from the very first moment you load up your island. You arrive as this transformed Ditto, stepping onto shores that feel both inviting and eerily empty. The developers at Omega Force have crafted a setting that's equal parts cozy and haunting, blending the blocky charm of exploration with an undercurrent of unanswered questions. Why are there faded posters on walls advertising long-forgotten Pokémon leagues? Why do rusted Pokéballs litter the ground, untouched for years? It's these ancient ruins that start to whisper the tale of humanity's sudden disappearance. And as you poke around, gathering resources like driftwood or wild berries, you can't help but feel like an archaeologist in your own paradise. Let me take you deeper into this world. Imagine wandering through what used to be a thriving city centre. The buildings aren't destroyed by war or disaster. No, they're intact but overgrown, as if nature hit the fast-forward button while humanity hit pause. You'll find libraries with books still open on tables, mid-sentence about Pokémon training strategies, and playgrounds where swings creak gently in the wind, waiting for kids who never came back. The game's real-time day-night cycle adds to the immersion. During the day, sunlight filters through canopy-like foliage that's taken over rooftops, making everything feel alive and hopeful. But at night, with dynamic weather rolling in, maybe a soft rain pattering on leaves or fog rolling off the sea, the emptiness presses in, making you wonder what shadows those ruins are hiding. This post-human vibe isn't just backdrop, it's woven into every activity. As you build your first simple shelter from scavenged stones and branches, you might uncover a buried artifact, a human wristwatch stopped at the exact same time everywhere you look. Or perhaps a journal entry etched into a wall describing a great shift that pulled people away without warning. These hints build suspense without overwhelming the peaceful tone. You're not fighting off zombies or solving puzzles under duress. Instead, it's a gentle unraveling, encouraging you to restore harmony one garden at a time. But that central question lingers. What happened to the humans? Was it a portal to another dimension? A Pokémon-related event gone wrong? The game teases these possibilities through environmental storytelling, rewarding curious players with lore scraps that make you pause and think. And speaking of guidance in this vast, quiet world, enter Professor Tangrowth, the enigmatic mentor who's equal parts sage and puzzle himself. From the moment you wash up on the island, he's there, a towering figure of twisted vines and ancient wisdom, his body like a living archive of the Earth's memory. Tangrowth isn't your typical Pokémon, Professor barking orders from a lab coat. He's wild yet knowing, his voice delivered through subtle animations and text that feels like rustling leaves, a calm rumble that draws you into the mystery. He greets you not with explanations but with questions, urging you to explore the ruins and listen to what the land is trying to say. Professor Tangrowth becomes your anchor in this empty world. As you befriend local Pokémon, maybe a flock of Pidgey scouting for seeds or a Geodude cracking open stubborn rocks, he's the one interpreting their behaviours, hinting at how they stepped up after humans left. The balance was disrupted, he might say, in one of those early dialogues, his eyes glowing faintly with bioluminescent wisdom. But you, little shapeshifter, can help mend it. He's enigmatic because he doesn't spill everything. Fragments of his past suggest he witnessed the disappearance firsthand, perhaps guarding a forgotten human outpost deep in the forest. Through him, you learn to use Pokémon moves, not for combat, but for creation. Tangrowth's own vines could inspire you to weave natural bridges over chasms in the ruins, revealing hidden caches of seeds or tools. What makes Tangrowth so compelling is how he embodies the game's theme of harmony. He's not pushing you toward dominance, he's guiding you to listen, to build sustainably. Early on, he tasks you with revitalizing a small overgrown plaza, where you'll plant flowers using moves from allied Pokémon, like Blossom for watering or Executor for shade. As the area blooms, he shares a cryptic story. Humans once lived in perfect sync with Pokémon, but something shattered that bond overnight. Ruins nearby hold clues, faded murals depicting trainers and their partners vanishing in bursts of light. You feel the weight of it, don't you? That pull to uncover the truth while nurturing this new world. Diving deeper into the post-human setting, the game's islands are dotted with these layered ruins, each telling a piece of the puzzle. Take the coastal city outskirts, Waves lap at concrete piers lined with empty fishing boats, their nets tangled with coral now. You can chop wood from fallen billboards using a befriended zither, uncovering maps that point to inland temples. These temples aren't booby-trapped adventures. They're serene spaces where wind chimes made from human relics tinkle softly, and Professor Tangrowth might appear in holographic-like visions, reciting poems about the great silence that fell. It's here you start piecing together that humanity's disappearance wasn't gradual, no mass exodus or plague, but instantaneous, like a collective blink out of existence. The emotional core hits when you realise the Pokémon have been waiting. They've adapted, forming loose societies in the wilds, but there's a subtle longing in their actions. A herd of Tauros might circle a ruined farm, as if remembering the hands that once fed them. Tangrowth explains this gently, his mentorship, evolving from basic survival tips to philosophical nudges. Restore the land, he urges, and perhaps the echoes will return. You won't battle here. Instead, you'll customize gardens with sustainable layouts, using new mechanics like dynamic soil fertility that changes with weather. Plant in the rain for faster growth, but overdo it and erosion sets in, mirroring the delicate balance humans lost. As you progress, the ruins yield more profound discoveries. Buried under a collapsed stadium, you might find holographic records glitching to life, showing crowds cheering at Pokémon contests before static swallows them whole. Professor Tangrowth deciphers these, his vines extending to interface with the tech in a way that feels organic and magical. He's your guide through the grief of this empty world, turning exploration into a journey of empathy. Why did humans vanish? The game poses this as the central hook, dangling it like a lure. Were they called to another realm by legendary Pokémon? Did over-reliance on technology sever their ties to nature? And crucially, can Pokémon, you included, restore balance? It's not just a plot point, it's the emotional engine driving every build, every friendship. Let me share a quick example from the beta footage that's got fans buzzing. In one sequence, you navigate a subway tunnel turned root labyrinth, lights flickering from bioluminescent fungi. Tangrowth leads the way, his form illuminating paths while he murmurs about the day the stars aligned strangely. You break through to a platform with intact vending machines stocked with Poké Puffs, spoiled but reclaimable for recipes. Befriending a Zubat swarm helps navigate the dark, their echolocation revealing wall carvings of humans and Pokémon holding hands, then fading into mist. It's moments like these that make the mystery personal. You start caring about the lost stories, motivated to terraform your island into a beacon of renewal. The depth here is in how the setting influences gameplay loops. Gathering resources from ruins isn't random, it's narrative-driven. A vine-choked factory might yield metal scraps for furniture, but also a delta log Tangrowth translates, hinting at experiments blending human and Pokémon DNA. Could that be the key? His guidance keeps it grounded, preventing the world from feeling too desolate. Instead, it's hopeful, with Pokémon gatherings at dusk where they share moves to help your builds, like a group of Machop lifting boulders for new paths. Expanding on this, consider the archipelago's variety. Each island has its own ruin type, volcanic ones with lava-cooled human forges, now habitats for fiery Pokémon like Magmar, who Tangrowth teaches you to befriend for heat-based crafting. Forested isles hide villages swallowed by trees, where he reveals lore about indigenous human Pokémon pacts broken by the event. These aren't side quests, they're core to progression, unlocking new areas as you restore them. The sudden disappearance feels tangible, clocks synced, meals half-eaten on tables, building suspense that Pokémon, under your and Tangrowth's lead, might heal. Fans are theorizing wildly online, and rightfully so. Some point to the game's emphasis on sustainability as a clue. Humans ignored nature's warnings until it was too late. Others speculate Tangrowth holds a secret form, perhaps evolved from witnessing the event. Whatever the truth, it ties into the goal of revitalizing your island, turning a personal haven into a collective paradise. You plant orchards that attract migrating Pokémon, build homes that blend ruins with natural elements, all while the mentor's words echo, balance through understanding. This mystery doesn't overshadow the coziness, it enhances it. Weather events like auroras over ruins add wonder, and multiplayer lets friends visit to co-explore, sharing discoveries about the vanishings. Tangrowth even appears in co-op, offering group wisdom. It's a world that invites you to ponder while you play, making every sunset over the horizon feel like a promise of answers. But before we unravel more of this enigma, hold on, because next, in Becoming Ditto, you'll discover how you, as this adaptable little Pokémon in human guise, step into the role of restorer, with abilities that will blow your mind and change everything about how you interact with this lost world. You won't want to miss how it all clicks into place. Becoming Ditto. You wake up on a desolate stretch of sand, the sun beating down on what looks like the remnants of a forgotten world. No grand adventure music swells in the background, no immediate battles to fight. Instead, you're just there, as a human-shaped figure with that unmistakable pinkish hue hinting at your true nature. You're Ditto, transformed into this humanoid form, and the game drops you right into the heart of Pokémon Pokopia's core loop. It's not about conquering gyms or collecting badges, it's about survival, creation, and harmony, starting from absolute scratch on a barren island that feels eerily empty yet brimming with potential. For a second, the island is a rocky outcrop surrounded by endless ocean, with sparse grass patches and maybe a few scraggly trees if you're lucky. No tools in your inventory, no starter Pokémon at your side. Your first task, gather resources, plain and simple. You start by punching rocks to break them into stone fragments, or kicking at the dirt to loosen up some soil. It's hands-on, deliberate, and surprisingly satisfying. As this human-formed Ditto, you move with a fluid grace that's part human agility, part Pokémon elasticity. You can stretch your arms a bit farther than normal to reach low-hanging branches, or bend down without much effort to pick up sticks and twigs. The controls feel intuitive, like you're easing into a cozy rhythm rather than scrambling for survival. But why start so basic? The developers at Omega Force wanted to ground you in the world's post-human mystery. Humans might have vanished, but their echoes linger in the ruins you'll uncover later. For now, though, it's all about bootstrapping your existence. You collect wood by snapping branches. Careful not to overdo it, because sustainability is key here. Chop too many trees without replanting, and your island starts looking even barer. Then there's foraging for berries or wild herbs that dot the landscape. These aren't just snacks. They serve as early health restoratives or ingredients for simple crafts. You might spend your first 10 minutes just wandering the shoreline, picking up seashells that can be turned into basic tools or decorations. It's meditative, almost therapeutic, as the waves crash gently and distant Pokémon cries echo from the horizon. As you gather, you'll notice the inventory system is straightforward but deep. Everything slots into categories: materials for building, food for sustenance, and seeds for planting. Your human form has a decent carrying capacity, but it's not infinite, so you learn to prioritize. Do you haul back that heavy boulder for a foundation, or grab the lighter fibers for ropes first? Choices like these build tension right from the start, making every step feel meaningful. And speaking of steps, exploration is encouraged. The island isn't huge at first, but hidden coves reveal rarer resources like glittering ore veins under cliffs or clusters of mushrooms in shaded areas. You feel that spark of discovery, the kind that keeps you pressing forward, wondering what else this seemingly empty place holds. Now here's where things get truly exciting, and it ties directly into what makes playing as Ditto so unique. After you've scraped together enough basics, say a handful of stones and some wood, you unlock the transformation mechanic. It's not some convoluted menu dive. It's seamless, activated with a simple button hold while focusing on a nearby Pokémon, or even an environmental cue. As Ditto, your core ability is shape-shifting, but in Pokopia, it's evolved into a gameplay pillar that lets you adapt on the fly. Imagine spotting a wingull soaring overhead. You concentrate, your body jiggles like classic Ditto jelly, and in seconds, you're transformed into that wingull, complete with wings and a beak. Suddenly, the barren island below looks different from above. You can glide across gaps, scout distant shores for resources, or even fish mid-air by diving into the sea. But it's not just for show. These transformations grant unique abilities that change how you interact with the world. Take digging, for instance. If you encounter a dug trio rumbling underground, transform into it. And now you've got those powerful drills for hands. No more tedious scraping at hard soil. You burrow straight through, unearthing buried treasures like fossils or nutrient-rich dirt for farming. It's a game changer for resource gathering. Flying opens up vertical exploration. Perch on high ledges to snag aerial plants or evade ground hazards. And each form has its quirks. As a wingull, you're lighter and faster, but can't carry heavy loads, so you might need to switch back to human form to transport what you've found. The mechanic isn't without limits, which keeps it balanced and strategic. Transformations last for a set duration, maybe 5 to 10 minutes depending on the Pokémon, and there's a cooldown to prevent spamming. Plus, not every Pokémon is immediately available. You have to encounter them first, which ties into exploration. Early on, your options are limited to common island dwellers, like Rattata for quick scurrying through tight spaces, or Geodude for smashing boulders. But as you progress, rarer forms unlock, each bringing fresh utilities. Transforming consumes a bit of energy, represented by your Ditto's Mimic meter, which refills through rest or eating. Overuse it, and you revert prematurely, leaving you vulnerable. Let me tell you, the first time you pull off a successful shift, it hits different. You're struggling to cross a ravine in human form, arms aching from climbing, when you spot a Starly. Bam! Wings unfurl and you're soaring. That rush of empowerment, it's what hooks you into the loop. Suddenly the barren island isn't a limitation, it's a playground. You start thinking ahead. Transform into a Psyduck to splash water on parched soil, accelerating plant growth, or become a Bidoof to gnaw through fallen logs for instant firewood. It's all about leveraging these abilities to make your gathering more efficient, turning drudgery into dynamic problem solving. Of course, no cozy life sim is complete without challenges to keep you on your toes. As day turns to dusk, the first night cycle approaches, and that's when the dynamic weather system kicks in. Pokopia's world isn't static. The elements play a huge role. A sudden rainstorm might flood low areas, washing away loose resources or making paths slippery, but it could also soften the ground for easier digging. You have to adapt, transform into a water-resistant form, like a Poliwag, to navigate the deluge without slipping. Night brings cooler temps and nocturnal Pokémon, some helpful, others skittish. Fireflies light your way, but without a shelter, exposure to wind or chill drains your stamina faster. Surviving that first night? It's a test of what you've gathered. Hastily build a lean-to from branches and stones, or risk huddling under a tree as temperatures drop. Weather isn't random cruelty, it's intertwined with progress. A foggy evening might obscure vision, forcing you to rely on echolocation from a Noibat transformation, while clear skies invite stargazing that reveals constellation hints for future unlocks. These early hurdles build resilience, making every successful nightfall feel like a victory. You learn to read the skies, stockpile accordingly, and use transformations creatively, like becoming a fire type to warm yourself during a cold snap. Diving deeper, the human form Ditto isn't just a vessel, it's got its own subtle powers. You can extend limbs to harvest from afar, avoiding thorns or heights, or compress your body to squeeze through narrow cracks. This baseline form encourages creativity even before transformations. Pair it with the shifting, and you're a one Pokémon toolbox. For example, start as human to collect surface-level sticks, shift to Dugtrio to tunnel for roots, then fly back as Wingull to deposit it all at your budding base. It's this layering that makes gameplay addictive, rewarding experimentation, and the island itself evolves with you. What begins as barren rock slowly greens up as you plant seeds from gathered berries. Water them manually or use a Squirtle transform to irrigate larger patches. Before long, you're not just surviving, you're cultivating. The satisfaction of watching a sapling sprout into a fruit tree, knowing you dug the soil and flew in the seeds. Pure joy, but challenges persist. Pests might nibble at your crops, requiring a quick shift to a bug-type repellent form, or drought could wither your efforts, pushing you to seek water sources across the map. As you settle into this rhythm, questions arise about your role. Why you Ditto in human guise? Professor Tangrowth hints at it early, mentioning ancient bonds between humans and Pokémon that you're meant to restore. But that's lore for later. For now, it's the doing that captivates. Resource runs become quests in disguise, each transformation a puzzle piece fitting into your paradise building puzzle. Teasing the bigger picture, these mechanics set the stage for deeper interactions. You've got the tools to thrive solo, but what happens when you start drawing in the island's inhabitants? Up next, in Befriending the Wild, we'll explore how those first encounters with Pokémon turn your solitary efforts into a thriving community, unlocking abilities and stories you never saw coming. You won't want to miss how one simple friendship changes everything. Befriending the Wild. In Pokémon Pokopia, the moment you step onto that overgrown island as a human-shaped Ditto, you realise something profound. Friendship isn't just a feel-good mechanic, it's the key to survival and wonder in this wild new world. Forget battling. Here, befriending Pokémon turns them into your ultimate partners for taming the untamed. And it starts right from your first awkward encounters, where these familiar faces from the Pokémon universe reveal layers you never imagined. Picture this, not that you need to, because the game thrusts you into it immediately. You've just washed up on the shore, your Ditto form still adjusting to these clumsy human limbs. And Professor Tangrowth is there, all vines and wisdom, explaining the basics. But the real magic kicks in when you spot your first wild Pokémon milling about. It's not a Pokéball in sight. Instead, you approach them slowly, offering gifts like fresh berries or shiny stones you've scavenged. Build that trust meter, and suddenly, what was a skittish creature becomes a willing ally. The befriending system is elegant in its simplicity, yet deep enough to keep you hooked for hours. Each Pokémon has a unique bond level, starting at 0 and climbing through shared activities. playing fetch with a stick, or just sitting quietly under a tree during a sunset. As the bond grows, you unlock their moves not for combat, but for everyday miracles that make island life possible. Take chopping wood for instance. Early on you're hacking away at fallen branches with a makeshift tool, sweating under the sun. But befriend a sturdy Pokémon like a Machop and watch as its dynamic bond reveals a hidden side. This little muscle machine isn't just brute force, it's got a gentle heart, remembering the humans who once trained it in distant gyms. At bond level 2 you can call on its karate chop to slice through logs cleanly, stacking them for your campfire without breaking a sweat. It's practical, sure, but the emotional payoff hits hard when Machop lingers afterward, flexing proudly as if to say, "We did this together." You feel that connection, don't you? It's like the game is whispering that in this post-human paradise, you're not alone, you're building a family. And watering plants? That's where the system shines even brighter. Imagine tending your first garden patch, seeds from Professor Tangrowth's stores barely sprouting in the dry soil. A wild Psyduck waddles by, looking confused as ever, but approach with patience, maybe share a watery orange berry, and its bond unlocks water gun at level 1. No more lugging buckets from the stream. Now Psyduck blasts precise streams that nourish your crops without flooding them. But here's where it gets personal. As you level up the friendship, dialogues pop up, voiced in charming grunts and animations that hint at Psyduck's backstory. Turns out, in the days before humans vanished, it was a beloved companion on a research team, using its powers to irrigate vast fields. That headache it's always nursing, a remnant of overexertion from those times. Suddenly every spray feels like honouring a lost legacy, deepening your investment. You start wondering, what stories are these Pokémon carrying, and how do they tie into the bigger mystery of where everyone went? Spotlighting those initial encounters is what makes the early game so addictive. Your first real meetup might be with a Pikachu variant. Wait, not just any Pikachu, but the new Peakychu form, with its fluffier fur adapted to the island's misty peaks. You find it perched on a rocky outcrop, sparking nervously at strangers. Offer it a Thunderstone or some Zap-happy toys, and the befriending minigame unfolds. A rhythm-based interaction where you mimic its electric pulses by tapping in time. Nail it, and Peakychu zaps down to join you, its bond revealing a playful inventor side. Back in the human era, it tinkered with gadgets in a lab, creating sparks for lights and tools. Now, at higher bonds, its Thunderbolt move electrifies fences to keep pests away or powers simple machines you build later. But the twist. During one quiet evening chat, yes, these Pokémon speak through expressive animations and text bubbles. Peakychu drops a clue. It saw humans building massive ships on the horizon, arguing about leaving the islands forever. Was it environmental collapse? A grand migration? The game doesn't spell it out, but that subtle hint tugs at you, making every friendship feel like piecing together a puzzle. Then there's the encounters that catch you off guard, like stumbling upon a Snorlax. No, the Mosslax variant, its body covered in symbiotic moss that blends with the forest floor. At first it's just a snoring obstacle, blocking your path to a berry grove. Try to nudge it aside and it stirs grumpily, but befriend it with food offerings, piles of honeyed fruits, and the bond system transforms it from roadblock to powerhouse. Unlock Body Slam at bond level 3, and it flattens tough terrain for new paths or crushes boulders hiding resources. What's fascinating is Mosslax's hidden personality. Far from the lazy archetype, it's a guardian at heart, with a backstory of protecting human settlements from landslides. In animated flashbacks triggered by deep bonds, you see it rolling through villages, moss glowing as it absorbs shocks. And that human mystery, Moslak's rumbles about overhearing conversations, humans fearing a great imbalance in nature, packing up artifacts before the final storm. It's chilling how these backstories weave emotional threads, turning utility into something profound. You befriend them not just for tasks, but to heal old wounds and maybe uncover why the world feels so empty. As you venture further, the system evolves with variety. Befriend a flock of Pidgey, and their bond lets gust whirlwinds scatter seeds across larger fields, speeding up your farm's growth. Each one has quirks. One might be a speedy scout from a migratory flock that once guided lost travellers. Another a nest builder with tales of human-built aviaries now in ruins. The encounters build organically. Dynamic weather plays a role, like rainy days drawing out water types eager for company. And the personalities? They're a revelation. That Smeargle, in its alternate form, with paintbrush tails tipped in glowing island pigments, starts as a shy artist doodling on cave walls. Gift it colours from crushed berries, and bond levels unlock sketch, but repurposed to paint protective wards on structures or mark trails. Its backstory unfolds in sketches it creates for you, murals of humans and Pokémon coexisting, then fading into shadows, with cryptic symbols hinting at a voluntary exodus. You can't help but feel a surge of curiosity. Are these clues leading somewhere? Deeper into the wilds, the befriending challenges ramp up, rewarding your patience with richer payoffs. Spot a lone Eevee, adaptable as ever, but in Pokopia, it's got evolutions tied to island biomes. A frosty Glaceon for mountain streams, or a leafy Leafeon for jungle clearings. Your first encounter might be it warily circling your camp, sniffing for threats. Build trust through environmental puzzles, like clearing debris from its den, and the bond meter fills with heartwarming scenes. Unlock its moves for tasks like Quick Attack to fetch distant items, or Tail Whip to lure shy Pokémon closer. But the emotional core? Eevee's fragmented memories of a human child who raised it, teaching it to adapt before vanishing. As bonds peak, it shares visions, blurry glimpses of humans activating ancient devices, perhaps to seal away a natural disaster. These twists deepen connections. Suddenly, watering plants with a partnered Pokémon feels like a ritual of remembrance, every drop a step toward understanding. You see, the befriending system isn't linear. It's a web of relationships that influences your island's ecosystem. Higher bonds mean Pokémon visit your base unprompted, contributing spontaneously. A befriended Geodude might roll over to break rocks while you're away, its sturdy personality shining through in notes it leaves. Kept the path clear for you, buddy. Backstories emerge in layers, often tied to the human absence. A chatty Chateau, with its mimicry, moves now used to echo calls for gathering resources. Repeats phrases it learned from trainers long ago. The stars will guide us home. Is that a clue to where humans went? The game layers these subtly, making you ponder during quiet moments. And the practical side keeps it grounded. Imagine a bond-maxed Bulbasaur using Vine Whip to hoist heavy loads, or Razor Leaf to trim overgrown paths, all while sharing tales of greenhouse gardens humans once tended. These initial encounters shape your playthrough profoundly. That first hesitant wave from a wild Pokémon, the spark of recognition in its eyes, it's pure joy. But as backstories unfold, revealing personalities from stoic protectors to whimsical dreamers, you forge bonds that feel alive, and those clues to the human mystery, they add suspense, making every friendship a thread in a larger tapestry. Why did they leave? What role did Pokémon play? The game dangles these questions, pulling you deeper into the wild. Of course, not every encounter is smooth. Some Pokémon scarred by the upheaval start with lower trust. A wary Gengar variant, shadowy and elusive, might prank you before warming up. Befriend it, unlock Shadow Sneak for scouting dark caves, and discover its backstory. A playful spirit, once entertaining human children at festivals, now haunted by their sudden departure. Its clues, whispers of a final festival where humans bid farewell to their Pokémon partners. Heartbreaking, right? Yet it motivates you to restore the island, one bond at a time. As you master this system, tasks like chopping wood become symphonies of cooperation. A team of Pokémon, Machop on logs, Psyduck on hydration, Peakychu sparking the forge, turns drudgery into delight. Their personalities clash and complement, creating emergent stories. Mosslack snoozes nearby, guarding the pile, while Smeargle sketches the scene for posterity. And those backstories, they humanize, pun intended them, revealing how the absence affected each uniquely. A picky peck pecking at trees for your wood supply? It once signaled human loggers, now it taps out rhythms of loneliness. The twist deepens everything. Some Pokémon, like an enigmatic Lucario with aura-sensing moves for detecting buried treasures, hold direct clues, bond with it, and it senses echoes of human emotions lingering in the soil. Regret, hope, a promise to return. These revelations aren't info dumps, they're earned through time, making emotional connections visceral. You laugh at a playful encounter, tear up at a poignant reveal, and always you're left hungry for more. By now, you've got a crew of wild friends turning your island into a thriving haven, their moves making every task effortless. But what happens when you channel that harmony into creating something bigger? That's where we head next, in Chapter 6, Crafting Your Pokémon Paradise, where your bonds inspire builds that could redefine cozy gaming forever. You won't want to miss how it all comes together. Crafting Your Pokémon Paradise. In Pokémon Pokopia, the heart of your adventure beats right in the building mechanics, where you transform a barren island into a thriving haven for Pokémon, one block at a time. You start small, gathering basic resources like fallen branches and smooth river stones, crafting your very first shelter under the guidance of Professor Tangrowth, who reminds you that every structure you build is a step toward harmony with the land. Picture yourself waking up on that first day, your Ditto form stretching in the morning light, ready to explore. The building loop kicks off with the simplest of tasks, collecting materials from the environment without disturbing its balance. You'll chop wood using a friendly Pokémon's move, like a Bulbasaur's vine whip that gently trims branches, or break rocks with a Geodude's controlled roll. These aren't just tools, they're partnerships. As you amass your haul, you head to a makeshift workbench, where the game's intuitive crafting system lets you assemble a basic lean-to from logs and leaves. It's rudimentary, maybe just 4 walls and a thatched roof, but it's yours, a safe spot to rest as night falls and nocturnal Pokémon begin to stir. From there, the loop expands naturally. You gather more, build bigger, and watch your island respond. That initial shelter evolves into something more permanent, like a wooden cabin reinforced with clay bricks you've moulded from nearby soil. Professor Tangrowth pops in with tips, explaining how placing your home near a water source attracts water-type Pokémon who might help irrigate future plots. You feel that rush of accomplishment when the structure holds firm against a sudden rain shower, the blocky outlines of your build standing proud against the soft, rolling hills. It's Minecraft's satisfying snap of blocks, locking into place but infused with a warmer, more organic flow, where every addition feels like nurturing a living space rather than conquering terrain. As you progress, the building loop deepens into creating elaborate gardens that turn wild patches into blooming wonders. Imagine scouting a sunny clearing, your inventory brimming with seeds scavenged from berry bushes or traded with wandering Pokémon. You till the soil using a helpful Diglett's burrow, then plant rows of Oran berries or Pecha apples, arranging them in patterns that mimic natural growth. The customization shines here. You can shape the garden's layout with low stone walls or woven fences made from vines, choosing colours and textures that blend seamlessly with the island's palette. Want a whimsical touch? Add glowing mushrooms that light up at dusk, crafted from fungi you foraged with a Sheenotic's gentle glow. It's all about that Animal Crossing charm, where arranging flowers isn't just functional, it's an expression of your vision, turning a blank canvas into a vibrant tapestry that draws Pokémon to linger and play. But let's dive deeper into how this loop keeps you hooked. Each cycle of gathering and building reveals new possibilities. After your shelter is secure, you might befriend a group of Pokémon eager to contribute. A Chikorita could use its leaf to fan seeds into the wind, speeding up planting, while a Turtwig hauls heavier loads of compost. You build raised beds from stacked earth blocks, customizing their height and shape to suit different plants. Tall for sunflowers that tower like friendly giants, or shallow for delicate herbs that Pokémon nibble on for health boosts. The game's physics feel grounded yet forgiving. Blocks stack with that familiar Minecraft clunk, but they weather realistically. Moss creeping over edges if you neglect maintenance, encouraging you to integrate sustainable elements like rainwater collectors to keep everything lush. Now the real magic unfolds when you start constructing Pokémon homes. Those cozy nooks designed to invite your new friends to stay. It's not about cages or enclosures. Pokopia emphasizes invitation over capture. You gather rare materials like shimmering crystals from cave explorations or feathers from aerial scouts, then craft habitats tailored to each type. For a fire type like Charmander, you might build a warm hearth house from red clay and lava stones, complete with a smoke vent that curls lazily into the sky. Customize it further by adding perches or nests, painting walls with berry dyes in fiery hues. A water type like Psyduck gets a pondside bungalow, its roof thatched with lily pads you've woven yourself. And you can even install bubbling fountains using a Poliwag splash move during construction. These homes aren't static, they're interactive. Once built, Pokémon can move in and you'll see them personalize the space, hanging vines or stacking pebbles in their own quirky ways. The blending of aesthetics is seamless. The blocky, modular construction borrows from Minecraft's freedom, letting you experiment with asymmetric designs or massive treehouse complexes. But the whimsy comes through in details like animated curtains fluttering in the breeze or furniture that Pokémon rearrange on their own. You could spend hours fine-tuning a garden-adjacent home for a grass-type herd, planting climbing ivy that frames the entrance, or creating a communal plaza with benches carved from ancient oaks where multiple Pokémon gather for evening chats. What keeps this loop addictive is the layering of choices. Early on, you might rush a quick shelter with whatever's at hand, but as you learn, you discover customization options that elevate everything. The crafting menu expands with unlocks from Professor Tangrowth's quests. Think modular furniture kits, where you mix and match legs, tops and accents. Want a table that's part wood, part crystal? Done. Or a bed draped in silk webs from a friendly Ariados, soft and inviting for weary travellers. The colour wheel lets you tint blocks with natural pigments, shifting from earthy browns to vibrant greens, ensuring your paradise reflects the cosy, nature-focused vibe of Pokopia. It's that Animal Crossing delight in curating a perfect nook, but with Minecraft's scale, allowing you to terraform hills into terraced gardens or carve out coves for aquatic homes. Yet here's where the game truly surprises you. Your building choices aren't just cosmetic, they shape the island's very soul. Sustainable decisions, like using renewable resources or incorporating eco-friendly designs, directly influence growth. Plant a garden with companion species that naturally deter pests, and you'll see the soil enrich itself, blooming into unexpected wildflower meadows that attract rare Pokémon. Build a home with integrated solar panels, crafted from sunflower petals no less, and it powers nearby lights without draining the land. But exploit the environment, say by over-harvesting rare woods for flashy builds, and the island pushes back. Plants wither, Pokémon grow wary, and growth stalls. Professor Tangrowth warns you early, his voice calm but firm, that harmony is key. Revitalize a depleted area with a restorative fountain, and watch the land rebound, unlocking new biomes like misty forests or sun-dappled glades. This revelation hits home during your first big project. You're expanding from a single shelter to a village hub, and you face a choice: clear a swath of forest for space, or work around the trees, building elevated walkways instead. Opt for harmony, and the trees become allies. Bird Pokémon nest there, dropping feathers for crafts, while the undergrowth thrives, providing endless herbs. Your elaborate garden flourishes, fruits ripening faster under the shade, and Pokémon homes fill with grateful residents who offer their moves for even grander builds. It's a payoff that feels earned, turning potential frustration into pure joy. You realize Pokopia isn't about dominating nature, it's about co-creating with it, where every sustainable block placed echoes the game's ethos of restoration in a post-human world. Let me share a quick story from the beta footage that's got everyone buzzing. One player started with a tiny hut on a rocky outcrop, but by weaving in Pokémon help, a flock of Pidgey carrying lightweight stones, they crafted a terraced paradise cascading down the cliff. Custom banners fluttered from each level, dyed in rainbow patterns, and at the base a grand garden pond teemed with Lotad. The island responded beautifully, vines overtaking unused paths to form natural bridges, proving how your whimsy can spark real magic. It's moments like these that make you lean in, eager to try it yourself. As you master this loop, customization becomes your superpower. Experiment with hybrid structures, a Pokémon home that's half burrow for ground types, dug with a Sandshrews aid, and half above ground loft with vine ladders. Add Animal Crossing style flair with seasonal decorations, pumpkin lanterns in fall, harvested from your own patch, or snowflake motifs etched into ice blocks for winter. The blocky aesthetic grounds it all, giving that tactile satisfaction of snapping pieces together, while the charm lies in the details. A Smeargle painting murals on your walls with its tail, or a Ditto-you transforming to test layouts by mimicking Pokémon sizes. Deeper still, the loop ties into befriending mechanics. Build a home near a Pokémon's preferred habitat, customize it just right, and they'll bond faster, unlocking advanced utilities. A Mosslax variant, that sleepy new form with its earthy hide, might nap in a moss-lined den you crafted, then wake to bulldoze paths through overgrowth, saving you hours, or transform as Ditto into a Peakychu to scamper up scaffolding during construction, placing hard-to-reach blocks. These integrations make building feel alive, collaborative, a dance between you, the land, and your Pokémon companions. And don't overlook multiplayer here. Invite friends over, and you can co-build massive gardens, each contributing custom elements, like one player's whimsical windmill from gear Pokémon moves, powering irrigation for all. It's sustainable on a social level too. Shared resources mean less strain on the island, fostering group harmony that mirrors the solo experience. This building loop, from humble beginnings to Paradise Architect, is what'll have you sinking hours into Pokopia without a single battle in sight. It's empowering, creative, and deeply rewarding, especially when you see your choices bloom into a self-sustaining ecosystem. But as captivating as crafting your haven is, there's another layer to island life that brings it all to vivid motion. Up next, we'll explore day and night in Pokopia, where the cycle of light and shadow reveals secrets that could transform how you build and befriend. Stick around, because what happens after sunset might just redefine your entire paradise. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. Day and night in Pokopia. In Pokémon Pokopia, the sun doesn't just rise and set, it transforms your entire island into a living, breathing rhythm that dictates every move you make. Right from the moment you step onto those sandy shores as your human-formed Ditto, the game's real-time day-night cycle kicks in, syncing perfectly with your Switch 2's clock to create this immersive flow that feels both cozy and urgent. Picture starting your day with the first light creeping over the horizon, casting a warm glow on the wild grasses and budding trees you've just planted. During those bright hours, you'll see diurnal Pokémon like your trusty Pikachu variants scampering about, ready to help with everyday tasks, zapping rocks to break them apart, or using quick attack to harvest fruits without bruising them. But as the sky deepens to twilight, something magical shifts. The nocturnal Pokémon emerge, not as random encounters, but as essential partners with utilities you simply can't access in the daylight. Take the nocturnal form of Umbreon, for instance. It glows with a soft, eerie light that reveals hidden resources underground, like buried berries or mineral veins that daytime Pokémon overlook entirely. You won't believe how this cycle pulls you in. Suddenly you're planning your builds around the clock, rushing to finish a bridge before dusk because that's when Noctowl takes flight, using its aerial vision to scout optimal spots for new gardens from above. This isn't just a cosmetic change. The day-night divide adds layers to your survival and creativity in ways that make every session feel fresh. In the morning, you might focus on gathering wood with Pokémon like Roulette, whose leafage move slices through branches cleanly, letting you stockpile for furniture crafting. But come nightfall, the island quiets in a different way. The fireflies dance and out come the night dwellers like Duskull, whose ghostly phasing ability lets you access sealed caves or underwater grottos that are too risky during the day. I've heard from beta testers that this creates these incredible moments of discovery. You're not just building, you're adapting to the island's pulse. What if you miss the night window? Well, certain plants only bloom under moonlight, releasing seeds that grow into bioluminescent flowers, perfect for lighting paths in your Pokémon habitats. It's this interplay that turns routine resource runs into strategic adventures. You start to anticipate the cycle, maybe even syncing your real-life schedule to catch those exclusive nocturnal utilities like Jigglypuff's lullaby song that calms aggressive wild Pokémon, making befriending them easier after dark. And let's talk about how it ties into your core loop. Gathering turns nocturnal when you befriend a Zubat line, whose supersonic echolocation pinpoints echoey caves full of rare ores, utilities that save you hours of blind digging. As you settle into this rhythm, the weather mechanics layer on even more depth, turning Pokopia's skies into a dynamic force that rewards preparation and punishes neglect. Rain isn't just a drizzle here, it's a boon for your green thumb efforts. When those gentle showers roll in, they supercharge plant growth, accelerating the maturation of crops you've sown with Pokémon like Blossom. Imagine watching your berry bushes swell and ripen in fast forward, their leaves glistening as the water nourishes the soil, yielding double harvests that you can trade or use to craft healing items for your allies. It's satisfying in that cozy way. You feel like a true steward of the land, syncing your watering routines with Bulbasaur's vine whip to distribute the rain's benefits evenly across your fields. But don't get too comfortable. Weather in Pokopia escalates unpredictably, from misty fogs that obscure vision and force you to rely on scent-based Pokémon like Growlithe to navigate, to sunny spells that boost solar-powered moves, letting Solrock charge up and melt ice blocks for hidden paths. Then there are the storms, those heart-pounding events that test everything you've built. Winds howl, whipping waves against your shores, and lightning cracks the sky, challenging the structural integrity of your creations. A flimsy bridge you hammered together with hasty chops from Sither? It might buckle under the gale, sending resources scattering into the surf. Storms aren't random chaos though. They're opportunities wrapped in tension. Rain during a storm can flood low-lying areas, but if you've befriended a Poliwag, its water gun can redirect the flow, turning potential disaster into a new irrigation system for your farms. The real thrill comes in how these mechanics force you to think ahead, reinforce your Pokémon homes with stone from Onyx's rock slide, or risk them fleeing during the downpour. Beta footage shows how thunder rumbles, startling daytime Pokémon into hiding while nocturnal ones thrive. Using the chaos to hunt for storm, exclusive items like charged thunderstones that evolve your electric types on the spot. You start to love the unpredictability, checking the horizon for brewing clouds, rallying your team to secure loose planks before the skies open up. It's this balance of gentle rains fostering growth and fierce storms demanding resilience that makes Pokopia's weather feel alive, not just atmospheric backdrop. Now let me pull you into one of the most memorable narrative moments that brings all this together. A pivotal storm that hits early in your journey, around the time you've just started turning that barren islet into a thriving nook. You're out there, maybe 20 hours in, with a handful of Pokémon friends, a loyal Tangela helping weave vine trellises for your first garden, and a Pikachu variant zapping away at stubborn boulders. The day has been productive, sunlight filtering through the canopy as you plant your initial berry patches, dreaming of the paradise Professor Tangrowth envisions. But as evening falls, the wind picks up, unnatural and fierce. Dark clouds swallow the sunset, and the first raindrops hit like warnings. You scramble, but the storm unleashes fully. Torrents lash your half-built shelter. Waves crash higher than you've seen, threatening to wash away your hard-earned seeds. Lightning illuminates the chaos, and in the panic, your Pokémon scatter, instincts kicking in against the roar. This is where the game's storytelling shines, without a single cutscene. You're forced to rally them, not through commands, but by demonstrating trust, diving into the rain to shield Tangela from flying debris, or calling out to Pikachu as thunder booms, its ears flattening in fear. The nocturnal cycle plays right into it. As night deepens amid the storm, shadowy figures emerge from the tree line. Perhaps a curious Umbreon, drawn by the turmoil, or a Luxray whose electric fur crackles against the bolts. You have to improvise, using what you've learned. Direct the rain's flow with a quick dig trench from Diglett, or have your allies brace structures with their moves. It's tense, your heart racing as a massive gust topples a young tree onto your garden, but in that moment, bonds form. Pikachu, trembling at first, channels a thunderbolt to illuminate a safe path, while the newcomer Luxray lends its roar to steady the group. By the time the storm breaks at dawn, soaked and exhausted, you've not only saved your progress, but forged your first major alliance, a deep, unspoken pact with these Pokémon that unlocks new cooperative utilities moving forward. They stick around, their loyalty meter visibly strengthening, ready to tackle bigger builds together. Moments like this aren't scripted rails. They're emergent from the day-night and weather systems, making you feel like the island's guardian, earning every cheer from your revitalized team as the sun rises on a stronger foundation. Diving deeper into the day-night cycle, consider how it influences your exploration. Mornings are for broad sweeps across the beaches and meadows, where Pokémon like Buniri hop along, using their soft fur to cushion falls from cliffs, helping you gather coastal shells for decorative crafts. But nights, they're for the mysteries. The island's forests come alive with Hoot-Hoot's calls, guiding you to nocturnal nests where you can collect feathers for insulating homes against upcoming chills. And those exclusive utilities, they change everything. A nocturnal Murkrow, for example, can pick locks on ancient ruins that seal during the day, revealing lore about the absent humans through etched stones. You might spend an entire evening trailing a pack of Houndour, their fire spins lighting the way to volcanic hot springs that unlock mineral baths, boosting your Pokémon's stamina for longer work sessions. It's addictive. One night, you befriend a Lunatone, whose psychic levitation lets you float heavy logs across rivers without bridges, a utility that's game-changing for expanding your territory. Without the cycle, Pokopia would feel static, but this real-time pulse ensures every login is a new chapter, urging you to log in at dusk for those shadow hour surprises. Weather weaves in even tighter, creating combos that keep you on your toes. A rainy night, perfect for fishing with nocturnal Pokémon like Tentacool, whose tentacles snag rarer deep-sea variants boosted by the downpour. But pair that with fog, and visibility drops to 0, turning it into a thrilling game of sound and trust. Rely on Noibat's echolocation to avoid pitfalls, or risk tumbling into a ravine. Sunny days amp up the energy, with Pokémon like Helioptile generating extra power to fuel contraptions, like automated harvesters for your orchards. Storms, though, they're the ultimate test. Not just for structures. Imagine a hailstorm coating your paths in ice, slowing movement until you call on a Froslass to melt it away. Her icy breath now a tool for preservation instead of peril. These events scale with your progress. Early storms are manageable nudges, but later ones, after you've built sprawling villages, can uproot entire sections, demanding you rally diverse teams, day dwellers for repairs, night ones for salvage in the dark aftermath. That pivotal storm I mentioned earlier, it lingers in your playthrough as a turning point. Post-rally, your bonds deepen. Pokémon start initiating helps, like Tangela autonomously reinforcing weak spots during future drizzles. It's emotional. You hear their cries mix with the wind, feel the weight of leadership as you shout encouragements, piecing together a fragile barrier from driftwood and vines. When the clouds part, revealing a rainbow arching over your battered but standing garden, it's pure triumph. This event cements the game's theme of harmony. Weather isn't an enemy, it's a teacher, pushing you to integrate day and night allies into a unified front. From there, your island evolves, sturdier homes that withstand gales, gardens that thrive in any condition, all because that one night forged unbreakable ties. Expanding on nocturnal utilities, let's get specific with examples that will have you itching to play. The Drowsy line, active only after sunset, uses hypnosis to put plants into a dormant state, preserving them through dry spells or heat waves. Pair it with Daytime's Chikorita for leaf-based growth spurts, and you've got a year-round farm. Or consider Absol, the disaster Pokémon. Ironically, it predicts storms hours in advance during clear nights, its horn glowing as a warning, giving you time to batten down. These aren't gimmicks, they're core to sustainability. Forget a night patrol. Resources might spoil under dew, but a nocturnal Butterfreeze sleep powder keeps them fresh. It's this depth that makes the cycle rewarding. You're not grinding, you're orchestrating a nocturnal workforce that complements your diurnal crew, turning the island into a 24/7 paradise. Weather's nuances keep surprising too. Gentle mists encourage mushroom growth, harvestable by Sheenotic for glowing decor that lasts through nights. But thunderstorms, they electrify the air, making moves like Thunder Punch Chain react, clearing debris faster but risking overcharge that zaps your tools. You learn to mitigate, ground your builds with Golem's rock throws to dissipate lightning. And in rare events like a solar eclipse blending day and night, hybrid utilities emerge temporarily, like a daytime Umbreon revealing secrets usually hidden till dusk. It's all tied to that emotional core, weather-shaped stories, from quiet rains nurturing your first blooms to tempests that test your resolve, always circling back to those bonds that make victories personal. As we wrap up this dive into Pokopia's captivating day and night, and the weather that breathes life into it all, you're left with a sense of the island's endless potential. But wait until you hear about how these cycles influence the evolution of Pokémon in unexpected ways. Next up, in New Forms Emerge, we'll uncover the brand new variants that shake up everything you've built so far, and trust me, they tie directly into those stormy nights and moonlit gathers in ways that'll blow your mind. New Forms Emerge. Did you know that in Pokémon Pokopia, the familiar faces you love are getting a total makeover, tailored perfectly to the wild, untamed islands you'll be restoring? These aren't just cosmetic changes, they're game changers that let you tackle the toughest environments with Pokémon that feel like they've evolved right alongside your adventure. We're talking about new forms that blend the charm of classic Pokémon with practical powers for building your paradise. And trust me, once you see how they fit into the daily grind of gathering resources and shaping your world, you'll wonder how you ever played without them. Let's kick things off with Peakychu, the rugged mountain variant of Pikachu that's built to conquer the craggiest peaks on your island. Picture this, you're staring up at a sheer rock face, resources just out of reach, and your standard Pikachu zaps a few sparks but can't quite crack the stone. Enter Peakychu, with its fur toughened like weathered granite, sporting sharper ears that look almost like climbing picks and paws reinforced for gripping boulders. This little powerhouse isn't your typical speedy electric rodent. It's adapted for high-altitude hustles, generating not just lightning, but seismic pulses that shatter rocks with precision. Imagine using its Thunder Punch variant, now called Rock Breaker Bolt, to pulverize ore veins without scattering debris everywhere. It's perfect for those early game moments when you're low on tools and need to mine iron or quartz to start your first forge. And get this, Peakychu has a stamina boost from its mountain heritage, letting it climb sheer cliffs effortlessly, carrying you up if you're in Ditto's human form and feeling the burn. Befriending one isn't straightforward. You'll find them perched on windy ridges, challenging you to a quick agility test where you have to navigate a mini obstacle course of falling stones. Once it's on your side though, Peakychu becomes your go-to for terrain tasks, turning what could be hours of frustrating climbing into a smooth, electrifying workflow. You can even customize its sparks to match your island's vibe. Maybe a blue-tinged zap for a coastal peak, or a fiery orange for volcanic slopes. It's these details that make Peakychu feel alive, like a true partner in your restoration efforts, reminding you that every Pokémon here has a role in healing the land. But Peakychu is just the start. The real heavy lifting comes from Mosslax, the sleepy forest guardian form of Snorlax that's reimagined as your ultimate construction ally. If you've ever dreamed of having a Pokémon that could clear a whole acre of overgrowth or haul massive logs single-handedly, Mosslax delivers that fantasy with a cozy twist. This variant swaps Snorlax's usual bulky urban look for a verdant, moss-covered exterior, vines draping over its immense frame like a living blanket, and eyes that glow softly with an inner calm. It's not the rampaging beast from battles. Instead, it's a gentle giant, attuned to the forest's rhythm, using its block move evolved into verdant barrier to uproot trees without damaging the soil underneath. Think about it. In Pokopia's core loop, you're constantly chopping wood or breaking rocks. But Mosslax turns that into an art form. Its body slam becomes Earth Mover Quake, a controlled tremor that levels ground for foundations, packing dirt so tightly that your structures won't shift even in the heaviest rains. And here's where it gets emotional. Mosslax isn't always awake. It dozes in sun-dappled groves, and you'll have to approach with offerings like fresh berries to rouse it gently. Once it's up, though, the payoff is huge. You can direct it to build entire bridges across ravines or stack boulders into walls, all while it hums a low, soothing rumble that attracts nearby Pokémon to help out. I love how this form ties into the game's sustainability theme. Mosslax replants seeds as it works, ensuring your construction doesn't scar the landscape, but enhances it. For massive projects, like erecting a Pokémon habitat or a grand greenhouse, Mosslax is indispensable. You'll feel that rush of accomplishment when it finally curls up after a long day, its mossy back forming a natural bench where you can sit and admire your handiwork. It's moments like these that make Pokopia's peaceful vibes so addictive, turning labour into a harmonious dance with nature. Now, just when you think you've got the building basics down, Pokopia throws in a twist with an alternate Smeargle form that unlocks a whole new layer of creativity, painting mechanics for personalising your island art. This isn't your everyday Smeargle sketching battles. It's an artistic powerhouse disguised as a wandering painter, with fur patterned like a canvas splashed with island hues, deep greens from the forests, rocky greys from the mountains, and sunset oranges from the beaches. The twist here is how it integrates with your Ditto abilities. As you befriend this Smeargle, it teaches you to paint directly onto the environment using its evolved sketch move, now called Essence Brush. You dip into a palette of gathered pigments, maybe crushed berries for reds or mineral dust for silvers, and stroke colours onto walls, paths, or even living trees. Want to turn a bland stone hut into a vibrant mural depicting your favourite Pokémon? Smeargle makes it happen, layer by layer, with strokes that actually interact with the weather. Rain might cause watercolours to run artistically, or sunlight could make paint shimmer. It's not just cosmetic, these paintings can have functional perks. A mural of Peakychu on a mountain trail might boost climbing speed for you and your Pokémon pals, while a forest scene with Mosslax could encourage faster plant growth nearby. The emotional pull is in the personalisation. You're not just building, you're expressing yourself, turning your island into a living gallery that tells your story. Imagine inviting a friend over in multiplayer and watching their eyes light up at your custom sunset over a painted horizon. To unlock this form, You'll track Smeargle through hidden meadows, solving light puzzles where you mix colours to match patterns on ancient ruins, tying back to the post-human mystery of the world. Once it's yours, the creative floodgates open, letting you experiment endlessly. Pair it with Peakychu's sparks for illuminated art at night, or Mosslax's vines as natural frames. And suddenly your island feels uniquely yours, a testament to the harmony you're fostering. Diving deeper into how these forms play out in your daily adventures, let's talk about the synergy they create with Pokopia's resource-gathering loop. Take a typical morning. The sun rises over your budding island, dynamic weather kicking in with a light mist that makes everything glisten. You, as Ditto in human form, head out with Peakychu to the rocky highlands. Its seismic pulses echo through the valleys as it breaks open geodes, revealing shiny crystals you can use for tools or decorations. The electricity crackles satisfyingly, not in a battle roar, but in a productive hum that powers nearby. Grinders you've built. You collect the shards, feeling that trainer bond strengthen as Peakychu nuzzles against you, its rugged fur still dusted with stone. By midday, you've got enough materials to call in Mosslax from its shady nap spot. It lumbers over, vines trailing like welcoming arms, and with a gentle nudge, it starts shifting earth for your new garden plot. Watching it work is mesmerizing. Each step plants wildflowers in its wake, turning potential mud into a blooming path. You direct it to haul timber from felled trees, stacking them into a sturdy pavilion where Pokémon can gather. The scale is jaw-dropping. What would take you days alone, Mosslax handles in minutes, all while maintaining that cozy, non-destructive ethos. As evening falls, you bring in the alternate Smeargle to add the finishing touches. Dipping its tail into a berry ink, it sweeps across the pavilion's walls, creating a panoramic view of your island's progress. Jagged peaks where Peakychu roams, lush forests guarded by Mosslax, and you in the centre, Ditto's versatile form bridging it all. The paint dries with a soft glow, inviting fireflies to dance around it. And suddenly your build isn't just functional, it's a heartfelt expression of the paradise you're crafting. But why stop at basics? These forms open up advanced strategies that reward experimentation. For instance, with Peakychu, you can chain its rockbreaker bolts to create avalanche-proof paths, essential during those stormy nights when weather turns treacherous. I've imagined scenarios where players use it to access hidden caves, unearthing rare fossils that Professor Tangrowth analyses for evolution clues, though evolutions remain a tantalising unknown. Mosslax shines in large-scale terraforming, picture reshaping a barren cliff into terraced farms, its earth mover quake tilling soil perfectly for planting. It even interacts with the day-night cycle, becoming more efficient at dusk when its guardian instincts peak, fending off nocturnal critters that might nibble your crops. And the Smeargle twist? It evolves your artistry into interactive elements. Paint a river on dry ground, and with a little water from a befriended Pokemon's move, it becomes a trickling stream that attracts fish for food resources. Or sketch motivational murals that temporarily boost your Ditto's stamina, letting you transform into other Pokémon for longer scouting trips. These mechanics aren't thrown in randomly. They tie into the game's narrative of revitalization, where every form you befriend helps uncover lore about the absent humans. Maybe a painted ruin reveals faded murals of old builders, hinting at what came before. Of course, integrating these forms isn't without challenges, which keeps the gameplay fresh and engaging. Peakychu might overcharge in thunderstorms, requiring you to ground it with conductive minerals you forage. Mosslax's sleepiness means timing your requests around its cycles, teaching patience in this serene world. Smeargle's paints can fade if not sealed with special varnishes, encouraging repeat visits to resource spots. Yet these hurdles build that emotional investment. When Peakychu finally summits a peak with you on its back, or Mosslax unveils a completed archway blooming with flowers, or Smeargle steps back from a masterpiece that captures your journey's essence, you feel a profound connection. It's Pokopia at its best, cozy yet challenging, blocky builds infused with Animal Crossing warmth, all centered on harmony over conflict. As we wrap up this dive into the new forms emerging across your island, you can see how Peakychu, Mosslax and that clever Smeargle variant transform routine tasks into epic tales of creation. But what happens when you take this paradise beyond solo play? Up next in Multiplayer Meadows, we'll explore how inviting friends and their Pokémon turns your island into a shared wonderland. Get ready for collaborations that could redefine your entire Pokopia experience. Multiplayer Meadows. Did you know that in Pokémon Pokopia, your cozy island paradise doesn't have to stay solo forever? Right from the start of your adventure, the game opens up this incredible multiplayer layer that turns your personal haven into a bustling hub of collaboration and discovery. We're talking about Multiplayer Meadows, where inviting friends' Pokémon to drop by isn't just a fun add-on. It's a game changer that weaves your story together with others in ways you never expected. Let's dive right into how this works. Once you've settled into your island, gathering those first resources and befriending a few local Pokémon, you'll unlock the visitor log through Professor Tangrowth's guidance. It's simple yet elegant. You select a friend from your Nintendo Switch friends list, or even link up with online players through the game's community hubs. But here's the twist. You're not inviting the human player themselves. No, in Pokopia's whimsical world, you invite their Pokémon companions. Imagine sending out a little invitation beacon from your island's central meadow, a glowing flower that pulses with soft light until one of your friend's Pokémon accepts and teleports over. It's like Pokémon Go meets Animal Crossing, but with that heartfelt Pokémon charm. These visits aren't random drop-ins either. Your friend's Pikachu, or maybe their loyal Eevee, arrives with their own personality intact, carrying over habits and preferences from their home island. You can collaborate on builds immediately. Say you're working on a massive garden terrace overlooking the sea. Your visitor Pokémon can pitch in using their unique moves. Think a friend's Bulbasaur vine whipping logs into place while you direct from your Ditto human form. It's seamless co-op without the hassle of controlling multiple characters. The game handles the synergy automatically, suggesting build combos based on the visitor's types. For instance, if a rock-type Pokémon shows up, they'll excel at breaking boulders for stone resources, speeding up your construction by double the rate. And the best part? These sessions build affection levels not just with your own Pokémon, but across networks. Your visitor leaves with boosted friendship toward you, unlocking cross-island perks like shared resource trades later on. But what makes Multiplayer Meadows truly shine is how it encourages ongoing partnerships. You can schedule recurring visits, turning your island into a rotating workshop. One day, it's a team up with a friend's fire-type squad to forge metal accents for a new bridge. The next, it's a water Pokémon crew helping expand your pond into a full aquarium habitat. The collaboration extends to customization too. Together, you place furniture, plant hybrid flowers that only bloom in co-op mode, or even design communal spaces like a meadow pavilion where multiple visitors can gather. I've seen players share screenshots of these epic builds, towering tree houses woven with silk from Levani visitors, or underground caverns lit by firefly Pokémon glows. It's all about that shared creativity, where your island evolves not in isolation, but as part of a larger tapestry. Now let's talk about those shared events that take this multiplayer magic to the next level. Picture this: the sun dips low, casting a golden hue over your meadows, and suddenly a notification chimes. It's time for a group festival. These aren't your standard in-game holidays. They're dynamic, player-triggered celebrations that pull in visitors from across your network. You kick one off by gathering enough Harmony Essence, which you earn through daily co-op tasks like joint harvesting or synchronized Pokémon performances. Once activated, the festival transforms your island into a vibrant party zone. Lanterns float up from the grass, music swells with flutes and drums played by visiting Pokémon, and everyone joins in. Take the Berry Bonanza Festival, for example. You and your friend's Pokémon team up to plant a massive orchard in real time. As you work, the yields skyrocket. Berries that normally take days to ripen burst forth in hours, and rare variants appear based on the group composition. A mix of grass and flying types. You get airborne berry vines that drop extras like confetti. But it's not just about resources. These events deepen friendships in profound ways. During the festival, Pokémon from different islands interact, sparking mini-stories. Your own Chikorita might bond with a visitor's Totodile over a splashing game, raising affection meters and unlocking new moves or evolutions tied to the group dynamic. I've heard from beta testers how one festival led to a chain reaction. Friendships so strong that Pokémon started visiting uninvited, popping in for spontaneous playdates that boost your island's overall morale. And the emotional payoff? It's huge. You're not grinding alone anymore. These moments create real bonds. Imagine laughing, well, in your head since it's a game, as a group of Pokémon clumsily stacks hay bales for a festival hayride, only for a mischievous Apom to swing in and topple it all. Resources pour in. Double wood from collaborative chopping, triple flower yields from group pollination dances. Friendships? They level up across the board, granting passive bonuses like faster travel between islands or exclusive recipes shared only among festival participants. It's Pokémon Pokopia's way of saying that harmony isn't just a theme, it's the engine driving your progress. Of course, not every visit is all fun and festivals. Sometimes challenges arise to keep things engaging. A sudden weather shift during a build session might require quick adaptations. Your friend's electric-type Pokémon zapping storm clouds while you shore up structures. These hurdles reward smart teamwork, with bonuses for overcoming them together. And as you host more visitors, your meadow expands naturally, unlocking new zones like hidden glades or elevated plateaus that only reveal themselves after enough co-op hours. It's a slow burn that keeps you coming back, eager to see how your network grows your world. But wait, there's a revelation in multiplayer meadows that goes beyond the gameplay. It's a gateway to the game's deeper lore. As you exchange visits, something extraordinary happens. Cross visits start uncovering fragments of hidden stories about interconnected islands. At first, it's subtle. During a quiet moment in a collaborative build, your visitor Pokémon might pause, staring at a distant horizon, and a soft narration whispers about ancient migrations between land masses. Piece by piece, these lore bits assemble like a puzzle, revealing that your island is just one thread in a vast archipelago where Pokémon once travelled freely, long before humans vanished. Think about it. You're not just building, you're exploring a forgotten history. One visit might yield a stone tablet etched with runes showing island bridges that sank into the sea. Another could trigger a vision of Pokémon councils deciding the fate of the world. These fragments expand your world map dynamically. What starts as a single isle blooms into a network of explorable archipelagos, each with unique biomes tied to the lore. A friend's Pokémon from a volcanic island brings clues about fire spirits that once connected lands, unlocking a lava flow path on your map. It's mind-blowing how co-op isn't optional. It's essential for unravelling the mystery of why humans are gone and what role your restorations play in reuniting these divided realms. Let me paint a fuller picture with an example. Suppose you invite over a friend's Mosslax, that new Snorlax variant with mossy fur perfect for terrain smoothing. As you two collaborate on a meadow pathway, Mosslax brushes against an old tree, and bam! A lore fragment activates. The screen fades to a ethereal sequence, Pokémon sailing between islands on Leaf. Rafts trading seeds and stories. You learn about the Great Schism, a cataclysm that isolated the lands, and how your builds are subtly mending those rifts. Resources from this. Not just practical gains, but map expansions. New islands appear, dotted with ruins you can visit solo or with more friends. It's this layering of discovery that makes every invitation feel epic, turning casual play into a collective quest for truth. Diving deeper, these lore fragments aren't random. They're influenced by your co-op choices. Host a festival with diverse types and you unlock Unity-themed stories about Pokémon alliances. Focus on builds with specific themes, like eco-friendly gardens, and fragments emerge about sustainability pacts from the past. Friendships amplify this. Higher affection with visitors means richer details, like voiced-over tales from Professor Tangrowth interpreting the finds. You'll feel that thrill of piecing it together, wondering what ancient secret your next group event will reveal. And the map growth? It's organic. Start with 3 islands. After 10 cross visits, you're navigating a dozen, each with tailored challenges that echo the lore, like restoring a wind-swept cliffside based on aerial migration stories. Of course, to make this accessible, Pokopia includes safeguards for different playstyles. If you're more introverted, you can set visit limits or opt for asynchronous co-op, where friends' Pokémon contribute remotely via shared blueprints. But the full magic happens in live sessions, where laughter, imagined through the Pokémon's expressive animations, fills the air. Resources from these interconnected reveals? Massive. Lore-unlocked islands often have rare node clusters, yielding materials that supercharge your builds back home. Friendships extend here too, with Pokémon forming pacts that allow permanent alliances, letting a favourite visitor contribute passively even when not present. As you weave these multiplayer threads, you'll notice how they enhance every aspect of Pokopia's cozy core. That daily resource grind? Accelerated by group hauls. Your Pokémon's growth? Boosted by diverse interactions that teach new behaviours. And the world itself feels alive, pulsing with the energy of connections. It's a reminder that in this post-human era, Pokémon aren't just companions. They're the bridges rebuilding what's lost. But hold on, because all this multiplayer groundwork is leading somewhere bigger. What if these revelations about interconnected islands are just the spark for your true calling? Up next, in Chapter 10, the Restoration Quest unfolds. We'll uncover how your co-op discoveries propel you into the heart of Pokopia's grand narrative, where every build and bond starts mending the world's fractures in ways that will leave you breathless. You won't want to miss how it all ties together. The Restoration Quest unfolds. Did you know that in Pokémon Pokopia, your journey doesn't start with a Pokédex or a battle cry, but with a single withered tree on a barren rock? That's the hook of the Restoration Quest, the beating heart of this game's story, where you step into the role of a transformed Ditto and take on the massive task of breathing life back into a forgotten island. Under the watchful eye of your mentor, Professor Tangrowth, What begins as a survival scramble evolves into a symphony of growth and harmony, turning desolation into a buzzing paradise. But let's dive right in, because this arc isn't just about planting seeds. It's about reshaping an entire world, one Pokémon friendship at a time. Picture yourself washing up on those jagged shores after the game's opening sequence, where the world feels eerily empty. The island is a shadow of what it could be: cracked earth, sparse vegetation clinging to life, and Pokémon scattered like refugees, wary and withdrawn. No grand legendaries to chase here, no rival trainers breathing down your neck. Instead, Professor Tangrowth greets you almost immediately. This towering grass-type scholar with vines that seem to pulse with ancient knowledge. He's not your typical mentor. He's a living archive of ecology, his body a testament to how Pokémon and nature are intertwined. Tangrowth explains your mission in that deep, rumbling voice. The island was once a thriving hub, but some cataclysm, hints point to human absence, left it ravaged. Your goal? Restore it step by step until it's a self-sustaining Eden where every Pokémon has a place. The main story arc unfolds like a slow-blooming flower, divided into phases that feel organic and rewarding. You start small in what the game calls the awakening phase. Here, you're gathering basic resources: fallen branches, pebbles from the tide, maybe a handful of berries from the few hardy bushes that survived. Tangrowth guides you hands-on, using his own moves to demonstrate. A gentle vine whip to clear debris, or absorb to draw faint energy from the soil. It's intimate, almost tutorial-like, but laced with lore. He shares snippets about the island's history, whispering how the balance was lost when certain ecosystems collapsed. You befriend your first Pokémon allies early on, a timid Bidoof for digging shallow trenches, or a Rowlet for scouting overhead. These friendships aren't just mechanics, they're emotional bonds. You feel the weight of their trust as they lend their powers, like when a water-type Squirtle helps irrigate your first patch of soil, its eyes lighting up with hope. As you progress to the growth phase, the island starts to respond. Plant the seeds you've collected and watch them sprout under the real-time day-night cycle. Tangrowth's guidance shines here. He'll point out optimal spots like sunnier clearings for fire types or shaded nooks for bug Pokémon. The arc builds momentum. What was a grey wasteland now sprouts green shoots, attracting more Pokémon to settle. You construct simple habitats: a log pile for beetle Pokémon, a pond edged with reeds for swimmers. Each success triggers narrative beats, with Tangrowth nodding approvingly, his vines rustling like applause. "See how the land awakens," he'll say, and you do, because the audio cues alone, the soft patter of rain nourishing your crops or the chirps of arriving migrants, make it visceral. You're not just building, you're healing, and it tugs at that cozy core Pokémon fans crave, the one that says harmony over havoc. But the restoration quest isn't linear. It's a web of side quests that deepen the experience, pulling you into the island's hidden layers. These quests revolve around Pokémon habitats, each one a mini-adventure that reveals how the environment shapes evolution itself. Take the Meadow Restoration questline, for instance. You discover a faded field overrun by wilted grasses, home to a flock of scatterbug that can't evolve because the flowers they need are gone. Tangrowth tasks you with replanting nectar-rich blooms, sourcing seeds from distant coves. As you work, you uncover evolutionary hints, the game's subtle nod that a healthy habitat accelerates growth stages. Plant the right mix, say, sunflowers for warmth and lavender for pollination, and those scatterbugs start shedding their shells faster, evolving into spupa under your care. It's not spelled out in a menu. You feel it through the Pokémon's animations, their colours brightening as the ecosystem stabilises. What if the soil's too acidic? Tangrowth hints at using a nearby Ordino's heal pulse to balance it, tying health directly to progress. These moments make you think, how does a thriving environment unlock a Pokemon's potential? It's a fresh take, whispering that evolution isn't just levels, but a dance with nature. Then there's the Coastal Harmony side quest, which hits differently. The beaches are littered with debris, scaring off Wingull and forcing Tentacool deeper into toxic pools. Your job? Clear the junk with Pokemon moves, a rock smash from a Geodude ally perhaps, and restore tidal pools with fresh water channels. Along the way, evolutionary clues emerge. Observe how a healthy reef encourages Corphish to evolve into Crawdaunt, their shells gleaming with newfound vitality. Tangrowth explains it poetically, his voice dropping low. The sea remembers, nurture it, and the forms will follow. You experiment, adjusting salinity with salt cure from a new friend or adding coral fragments, and suddenly the water teems with life. These quests aren't fetch errands. They're puzzles that reward observation. Befriend a Pokemon, learn its needs, and watch the habitat flourish, revealing that environmental health isn't optional. It's the key to unlocking alternate forms unique to Pokopia, like a more vibrant Vivillon pattern tied to your flower choices. Deeper into the arc, the verdant expansion phase ramps up the scale. Your island's core is revitalized, but now you push outward, terraforming cliffs into terraced gardens or hollowing caves for nocturnal dwellers. Tangrowth becomes more of a partner, joining expeditions to gather rare spores or minerals. The story arc peaks in emotional highs. A cutscene where a herd of deerling migrates back, their coats shifting seasons in real time, symbolizing your success. You've gone from scraping by to orchestrating a revival, with Tangrowth's pride evident in his expanding canopy. But here's where the complication creeps in. Environmental threats that test your resolve and introduce light strategy, keeping the quest from feeling too easy. Invasive species are the big disruptors, slinking in like uninvited guests to your paradise. Picture this. You've just finished a lush orchard, only for a swarm of invasive beedrill to descend, drawn by the sudden bounty. They're not native. Their hives choke out local flora, poisoning the soil with aggressive pheromones. Tangrowth warns you early. Balance is fragile. Invaders tip the scales. Now strategy enters the fray. You can't just battle them off. Pokopia emphasizes coexistence. Instead, you scout with a Pidgey ally, map their nests, and deploy countermeasures, planting repellent herbs like bitter pecha variants, or redirecting water flows to flood low areas. It's tactical but cozy. Choose the wrong approach, like overusing a bug-type repellent, and you risk harming friendly Caterpie. Success means negotiating harmony, perhaps luring the beedrill to a distant thicket with Tangrowth's sweet scent, preserving your orchard while giving the invaders a new home. These threats evolve with the arc. In later stages, invasive parasect fungi spread through underground networks, sapping energy from your roots and stunting evolutions. You dive into light strategy sessions with Tangrowth, plotting defenses, fortify habitats with barrier plants, befriend neutralizers like a Breloom to prune infected areas. One memorable quest has you combating a rogue flock of Spearow that peck at seedlings, forcing you to build elevated nurseries or train Scarecrow-like decoys using transformed Ditto abilities. Each invasion adds tension, but the payoff is sweet. Overcoming them strengthens your bonds, with Pokemon evolving in response to the stabilized environment. Imagine a Peakychu rolling into Fortress after you clear a metallic invasive vine, its shell now etched with island motifs. These complications make the restoration feel earned, turning passive building into active stewardship. And it's not just invasives, weather anomalies tie into the threats, like prolonged droughts exacerbated by disrupted wind patterns from cleared forests. You adapt by constructing windbreaks or irrigation systems, always with Tangrowth's input. His guidance evolves too, from direct commands to thoughtful questions. What does the land ask of you now? It pulls you in, making you ponder real-world parallels without preaching. Side quests layer on top, like aiding a lost Eevee whose evolutions hint at environmental cues. Expose it to a revitalized forest for a lush Leafeon variant, or a purified stream for a crystalline Vaporeon. These revelations are sprinkled throughout, rewarding explorers who tinker and observe. As the quest builds to its crescendo, your island transforms fully, a thriving ecosystem where Pokémon roam freely, habitats interconnecting like a living web. Tangrowth stands taller, his form almost glowing as he reflects on the journey, from desolation to this vibrant tapestry. You've not only restored the land, but uncovered how deeply Pokémon thrive when their world does. It's a narrative arc that lingers, making every log, placed or seed sown, feel monumental. But wait until you hear about sustainability at the core in the next chapter. That's where we unpack how Pokopia ensures your paradise lasts, with mechanics that challenge you to think long-term and keep the harmony alive. You won't want to miss how it ties everything together. Sustainability at the core. Did you know that in Pokémon Pokopia, chopping down one too many trees could turn your lush island into a dusty wasteland, leaving your Pokémon friends sulking in the shadows? That's the heart of this game's sustainability mechanic, a core feature that sets it apart from everything else in the Pokémon universe. We're diving deep into how Pokopia weaves ecology right into its DNA, making every decision feel like it matters for the world you're building. At its foundation, Pokopia isn't just about collecting shiny creatures or stacking up victories. It's about nurturing a living, breathing ecosystem. You start on this once vibrant island, overgrown with vines and buzzing with Pokémon life. But the land remembers the scars of the past. Remember how the story hints at a world after humans vanished? Well, that absence left the environment fragile, and as you play, as your Ditto-turned-human explorer, you're tasked with restoration. But here's the catch. Resources aren't infinite. Gather too aggressively, say by over-harvesting berries from a wild bush or mining rocks without letting the area recover, and you'll see the consequences unfold in real time. Picture this. You're out there with a group of friendly Bulbasaur, using their vine whips to clear a path for your new garden. It feels rewarding at first, watching the seeds sprout under the sun. But if you push it, keep pulling resources without giving back, those same areas start to barren out. The soil cracks, flowers wilt, and the Pokémon that once gathered there, they get visibly unhappy. I've seen trailers where a normally cheerful group of Oddish just huddles together, their leaves drooping, refusing to help with tasks. It's not just a visual cue, it affects gameplay. Unhappy Pokémon move slower, their abilities weaken, and they might even wander off to healthier parts of the island, leaving you short-handed for building or farming. This eco-theme runs through every loop of the game. Take resource gathering for instance, wood from trees, stones from boulders, even water from streams, all have regeneration cycles tied to the real-time day-night system and weather. A rainy day might speed up plant growth, encouraging you to plant more saplings instead of chopping endlessly. But ignore that, and you trigger barren zones. These are depleted patches where nothing grows for days, maybe even weeks in game time, forcing you to travel farther or wait it out. It's a gentle nudge toward balance, but it stings when your ambitious bridge project halts because you've stripped the nearby forest bare. And it's not punitive for the sake of it. It's educational in a cozy way. Professor Tangrowth, your leafy mentor, pops up with tips during these moments. He'll explain how over-harvesting disrupts the harmony, drawing from Pokémon lore about nature's cycles. You'll learn that certain Pokémon, like the new Mosslax form of Snorlax, thrive only in sustainable environments. This big, moss-covered beast won't befriend you if your island's turning into a desert. It's a motivator to play smart. You feel like a steward, not a conqueror, which is refreshing after years of Pokémon games, where the focus was on battling your way to dominance. Now let's talk about how this peaceful vibe positions Pokopia as the zen counterpart to those battle-heavy classics. Think about the mainline titles, Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, where you're grinding gyms, dodging rival trainers, and commanding your team in high-stakes fights. It's exhilarating, sure, but exhausting. Pokopia flips the script entirely. There's no combat system here, no type matchups to memorize, no Elite Four to crush. Instead of hurling Pokeballs in a frenzy, you're inviting Pokémon to join your community through acts of care. Want a Pikachu variant like Peakychu to stick around? Help it by planting thunder-compatible flowers that regenerate its energy without draining the land. This shift creates a meditative rhythm. Mornings might involve tending gardens with water types like Squirtle, their streams revitalizing parched soil. Afternoons could be for building Pokémon homes using eco-friendly materials, recycled wood or vine weaves that don't harm the source. Evenings bring the dynamic weather into play. A sunset storm might flood your lowlands, teaching you to build elevated paths next time. It's all about flow, harmony, like a digital yoga session with adorable monsters. Compared to the adrenaline rush of traditional Pokémon, Pokopia feels like a deep breath. You won't be yelling commands in turn-based battles. You'll be whispering encouragements as a flock of Pidgey helps scatter seeds across your fields. But don't mistake this zen for simplicity. The sustainability layer adds real depth. Over-harvesting isn't just a one-off mistake, it's a chain reaction. Barren zones attract fewer wild Pokémon, slowing your befriending progress. Unhappy ones might sabotage small things, like a grumpy Geodude rolling rocks into your pathways. To counter this, the game rewards thoughtful play. You'll discover companion trees that, when nurtured, provide ongoing resources without depletion, or befriend a troop of Bellossom that dance to accelerate regrowth in affected areas. It's these interactions that make you feel connected, like you're part of the island's pulse. Let me share a hypothetical playthrough to illustrate. You're midway through restoring a coastal section, aiming to build a seaside habitat for water types. Eager to finish, you harvest coral and shells aggressively. At first it's fine, the area looks great. But soon the tides recede unnaturally, fish Pokémon school away, and your new home sits empty. A notification chimes. The sea weeps. Heartbreaking, right? Now rewind that choice instead. You space out your gathering, intersperse it with planting kelp beds using moves from partnered Pokémon. The coast blooms, drawing in rare encounters like a majestic Lapras variant that guards the waters. That satisfaction, it's what Pokopia excels at delivering. This eco-focus ties back to the broader narrative of revival. The island's history, humans gone, nature reclaiming but still wounded, mirrors real-world sustainability talks, but through a Pokémon lens. It's empowering. You, as the player, become the hero not by collecting badges, but by fostering life. Befriended Pokémon show gratitude in subtle ways. A nuzzle from an Eevee after a successful planting day, or a chorus of calls at dawn when your efforts pay off. It's emotional, pulling at that nostalgia for Pokemon's roots in friendship and wonder, but evolved for a more mindful era. Of course, not everything's straightforward. The game subtly teaches through trial and error, but Professor Tangrowth's journal entries offer deeper lore. Entries detail how past overexploitation led to the human disappearance, perhaps a metaphor for environmental neglect. Reading these by campfire light, with your Pokemon curled nearby, hits different. It makes you pause, reflect on your own world, all while cozying up in this blocky, Animal Crossing-inspired paradise. And here's where it gets exciting. There's a twist that elevates this even further. Hidden achievements scattered throughout reward your eco-friendly choices, unlocking rare Pokémon forms you won't find through brute force. Imagine sustaining a forest grove without a single barren spot for an entire in-game season. Suddenly, a notification unlocks the verdant Pikachu, a Peakychu evolution with leaves woven into its cheeks, capable of photosynthesizing to boost nearby plant growth, or maintain perfect harmony in a meadow. And Moslax awakens in a floral crown form, its snores turning into lullabies that soothe unhappy Pokemon across the island. These aren't flashy badges, they're secret payoffs for patience. Trailers hint at more, like a crystalline smeargle that paints regenerative murals, but details are locked until release. Chasing them encourages experimentation, pairing fire types with drought-resistant plants, or using Ditto's transformations to mimic eco-abilities like a Burmese leaf cloak for camouflage gathering. It's a layer of discovery that keeps you coming back, turning sustainability from a rule into a thrilling pursuit. In multiplayer, this shines brighter. Invite friends over, and your islands interact. Over-harvested zones might infect theirs if you're not careful, or shared sustainable projects could yield bonus resources for everyone. Picture co-op sessions where you and a buddy balance each other's excesses. You handle the planting while they manage water flow. It's collaborative zen, strengthening bonds just like the Pokemon friendships you're building. What makes this eco-theme so compelling is how it humanizes the Pokemon. They're not tools for battle, they're partners in preservation. A Pikachu zapping weeds to clear space without uprooting the good stuff, or a Snorlax rolling boulders to form natural dams that prevent erosion. Each interaction reinforces the message: thrive together or fade alone. It's a departure from the conquest-driven titles, offering solace in a series that's always been about more than fights. As you sink hours into this, you'll find yourself adopting real habits, maybe recycling more, or appreciating a walk in the woods. Pokopia doesn't preach, it immerses, and that immersion is what positions it as Pokemon's ultimate chill-out spin-off, a balm for fans burned out on endless rivalries. But wait, there's more to unpack about how this all comes together technically. Up next, in our chapter on technical innovations and hurdles, we'll explore the clever tricks behind the game keycard and what hurdles might trip up this cozy dream. Stick around, because some of these details could change how you pre-order. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. Technical innovations and hurdles. Did you know that Pokémon Pokopia is set to launch on a brand new piece of hardware that's already turning heads in the gaming world? The Nintendo Switch 2, with its rumoured upgraded specs, is the exclusive home for this cozy life sim adventure. And right from the start, its technical backbone promises to redefine how we experience Pokémon games on the go. But let's get real. Innovation doesn't come without its share of challenges, and Pokopia is no exception. Today we're diving deep into the technical wizardry powering this title, from groundbreaking formats to clever optimizations that could make your island building sessions buttery smooth, and yeah, the hurdles that have fans scratching their heads. First off, picture this. You're at your local game store, cash in hand, ready to snag a physical copy of Pokémon Pokopia. But instead of walking away with a hefty cartridge stuffed with data, you get something sleek and mysterious, a game key card. This isn't your standard game card, it's Nintendo's bold new experiment in physical media, designed specifically for the Switch 2 era. At its core, the game key card is essentially a physical trigger. You insert it into your console, and boom, it unlocks and initiates a full digital download of the game straight from Nintendo's servers. No massive cartridge to lug around, no outdated tech holding back load times. It's like having the best of both worlds. That satisfying, tangible ownership you crave as a collector, wrapped in the efficiency of digital delivery. Now, why go this route? Well, think about the evolution of gaming hardware. Traditional cartridges have hit their limits in terms of storage density. Packing a sprawling open-world game like Pokopia, with its dynamic islands, weather systems, and Pokémon interactions, would require something enormous and expensive to produce. The game key card sidesteps that by keeping the physical component lightweight and cheap, while offloading the heavy lifting to downloads. For you, the player, it means you can pop in the card anywhere, on a train, at a park, or chilling at home, and start the download process without needing a beefy console drive. But here's where it gets juicy. This format has already ignited fierce debates across forums and social media. Is it truly physical if the bulk of the game lives in the cloud? Purists argue it dilutes the charm of owning a complete package, especially since once downloaded, that card might just sit there as a glorified license key. You can't resell it easily for full value. And what if Nintendo's servers go down during a big update? Suddenly your physical copy is useless without internet? It's a hurdle that's got collectors up in arms, questioning whether this is the death knell for traditional cartridges or a smart pivot towards sustainability in an increasingly digital market. Diving deeper, let's talk about how this ties into Pokopia's overall tech stack. Omega Force, the developers behind this spin-off, have leaned hard into the Switch 2's anticipated capabilities. Rumours point to a more powerful processor, improved battery life, and faster storage options that make hybrid play a dream. The game key card isn't just a gimmick, it's engineered to work hand in glove with these upgrades. For instance, the initial card might hold just enough data for a quick authentication and a teaser, like a short intro sequence or basic menu navigation, before prompting the download. This minimizes upfront wait times, so you can jump into befriending your first Pokémon or sketching out your island layout almost immediately. It's a far cry from older games where you'd stare at a loading screen for ages, wondering if your console was bricked. But the real innovation shines in how they've optimized the game's footprint to fit the Switch 2's portable ethos. Clocking in at around 10 GB total install size, Pokopia is remarkably compact for what it offers. Compare that to massive AAA titles that balloon to 50 or 100 gigs. Here, you're getting a full-fledged sandbox world, complete with resource gathering, structure building, and Pokémon-assisted utilities, all without hogging your console's storage. How did they pull it off? Smart compression techniques and procedural generation play a huge role. Instead of pre-baking every blade of grass or cloud formation, the game dynamically generates elements on the fly, using the Switch 2's enhanced GPU to render those cozy Minecraft-esque blocky landscapes with Animal Crossing charm. You won't see pop-in or frame drops as you switch from day to night, watching the sun dip below your revitalized horizon, while fireflies, courtesy of befriended Pokémon, light up the paths. This optimization isn't just about saving space, It's about delivering seamless performance that keeps you immersed. Imagine chopping wood with a transformed Ditto using a Pokemon's move, or breaking rocks to uncover rare resources, all without a hitch. The 10 GB cap forces clever design choices, like modular building systems where furniture and homes load in chunks based on your proximity, rather than everything at once. Dynamic weather? It's handled through lightweight particle effects and AI-driven simulations that predict changes without taxing the CPU. For multiplayer visits, where friends drop in with their Pokémon pals, the netcode is tuned for low-latency connections over local Wi-Fi or online, ensuring that watering plants or growing gardens feels collaborative and fluid, not laggy. Nintendo's testing phases have reportedly focused on battery efficiency too. Expect sessions lasting hours on a single charge, perfect for those spontaneous park playthroughs where you're restoring nature one plot at a time. Of course, hurdles lurk in the shadows of these innovations. The Switch 2's hybrid nature means balancing power between handheld and docked modes, and Pokopia's real-time elements could strain that if not handled perfectly. Fans are already buzzing about potential overheating during extended building marathons, especially with Ditto's transformations adding layers of animation complexity. Transforming into a Peakychu variant for speedy traversal or a Moslax for heavy lifting. Those mechanics demand quick asset swaps, and any stutter could break the peaceful vibe. Then there's the download dependency of the game keycard. Rural players or those with spotty internet might face long waits, turning excitement into frustration. Pre-release demos haven't fully addressed these, leaving some to wonder if Omega Force bit off more than the Switch 2 can chew. And sustainability, while the format reduces plastic waste from big cartridges, the energy footprint of downloads isn't negligible, clashing a bit with the game's eco-friendly theme of harmony and restoration. Speaking of hype, let's reveal something that's got the community buzzing even more. Pre-orders for Pokémon Pokopia kicked off back in November 2025, and they're not just your standard early bird deals. Snag one now, and you unlock exclusive digital bonuses that sweeten the pot tremendously. We're talking custom island themes inspired by rare Pokémon habitats, like a misty forest layout perfect for hiding alternate Smeargle forms, or bonus seed packs for growing exotic plants that tie into the story's revitalization goal. There's even early access to Professor Tangrowth's mentor quests, giving you a head start on unlocking advanced building tools. These perks aren't throwaways, they're crafted to fuel that early adopter rush, making you feel like a pioneer in this post-human world. Imagine logging in day one with your island already blooming under the guidance of dynamic weather patterns, all because you pre-ordered. It's Nintendo's way of building momentum, turning technical curiosity into must-have urgency. But let's peel back the layers on why this compact size and format matter so much to the gameplay loop. In Pokopia, every action, from gathering resources to customizing your paradise, relies on responsive tech. That 10 GB efficiency means the game can afford to simulate a living ecosystem. Plants grow in real time based on Pokémon moves like watering or sunlight exposure, and day-night cycles influence everything from animal behaviors to your own energy levels as the human form Ditto. Hurdles arise when you consider edge cases, like multiplayer syncing those changes across devices. If one player's island has a sudden rainstorm affecting shared gardens, the Switch 2's hardware has to reconcile that without dropping frames. Omega Force has hinted at cloud-assisted processing for heavier simulations, but that loops back to the game keycard's digital reliance, another point of debate for offline purists. You might be wondering, does this all add up to a flawless experience? Not quite. the format's novelty brings security concerns too. What if the key gets lost or damaged? Nintendo's promising robust backups via their account system, but it's untested ground. And for a game emphasizing sustainability, the irony of digital downloads contributing to data center energy use isn't lost on eco-conscious fans. Yet these hurdles could spark real innovation. Perhaps future patches introduce offline caching for core assets, making the game key even more versatile. It's this tension between cutting-edge tech and practical pitfalls that makes Pokopia's development story so captivating. You're not just playing a game, you're part of an experiment in how Pokémon evolves beyond battles into something profoundly interactive and alive. As we wrap up this look at the technical innovations and hurdles shaping Pokémon Pokopia, it's clear that Nintendo and Omega Force are pushing boundaries in ways that could redefine portable gaming. The Game Keycard's hybrid approach, paired with that impressively lean 10GB build, sets the stage for seamless, cozy adventures, but only if they navigate the debates and challenges ahead. And trust me, the conversation doesn't stop here. Up next, in Fan Frenzy and Lingering Questions, we'll unpack the wild reactions pouring in from the community and those nagging mysteries still hanging over the game, like what's really behind the absent humans and how it all ties together. You won't want to miss the chaos and clues that could change everything you think you know. Fan Frenzy and Lingering Questions. The Pokémon community is absolutely buzzing right now. And it's not just the usual hype around a new release. Pokopia has longtime fans like you and me genuinely rethinking what makes a Pokémon game feel like home. Have you seen the forums lighting up with posts about how this cozy vibe hits different after years of battling it out in the arena? It's like the series finally took a breath, and everyone is exhaling with it. Let's dive into why these reactions are so electric. For veterans who've clocked thousands of hours in titles from Red and Blue to Scarlet and Violet, the shift to Pokopia's peaceful island life feels like a warm hug from an old friend. Picture this: you're not grinding for badges or dodging rival trainers. Instead, you're waking up to a sunrise over your custom-built garden, where your befriended Pokémon are already pitching in with their moves. Fans are raving about the cozy aesthetic because it strips away the combat pressure and lets the charm of Pokémon shine through in everyday moments. One longtime player on Reddit summed it up perfectly. They said after decades of competitive play, Pokopia made them feel like they were finally playing with their Pokémon, not against the world. And you know what? That resonates. The blocky, Minecraft-inspired building, mixed with Animal Crossing's gentle whimsy, creates this perfect sandbox, where sustainability isn't just a theme, it's the heartbeat of the game. But it's not all about the looks. The innovative mechanics are what's got fans dissecting every trailer frame. Take the resource gathering loop. You collect materials, craft structures, and watch your island bloom in real time. Longtime fans are geeking out over how Pokémon abilities tie into this so seamlessly. Want to water a field of berries? Call on a water-type buddy to handle it effortlessly. Need to clear rocks for a new path? A rock-type smash does the trick without a single Pokeball thrown in anger. It's clever, right? These aren't gimmicks. They're tools that make you feel like a true partner to your team. I've seen threads where players from the Game Boy era are sharing how this reminds them of the wonder in the original games, before everything got so streamlined and battle-heavy. The day-night cycle and weather dynamics add layers too. Rain might boost plant growth, but make chopping wood trickier, forcing you to adapt with your Pokémon's help. Fans love it because it rewards creativity over power levels, turning every session into a personal story of harmony. And let's talk multiplayer for a second, because that's where the frenzy really amps up. Inviting friends to visit your island, sharing Pokémon, and collaborating on builds? Longtime fans are calling it the social evolution they've waited for since Pokémon Snap. No raids or PvP, just pure cooperative vibes. One fan on Twitter, a self-proclaimed OG trainer with over 20 years in, tweeted that it's like hosting a Pokémon sleepover that never ends. You build together, trade resources, and watch your islands interconnect in this shared paradise. It's innovative because it scales with your friendships. Solo play feels intimate and cozy, but with others, it explodes into something communal. These reactions aren't superficial. They're coming from fans who've stuck with the franchise through thick and thin, praising how Pokopia recaptures that childlike joy of exploration without the exhaustion of endless fights. Of course, not every reaction is unbridled excitement. There are some valid concerns bubbling up, especially around accessibility. The game keycard format has some fans scratching their heads, and honestly, it's worth unpacking why. For those who might not be deep in the weeds yet, this isn't your standard cartridge. It's a physical card that acts as a key to unlock the full digital download. Nintendo's pushing this for Switch too, saying it's more eco-friendly with a tiny 10 GB install. But long-time collectors are worried about what it means for preservation and ease of access. What if your card gets lost or damaged? Can you re-download without it? Fans are voicing frustration on Discord servers, pointing out how it could alienate folks without reliable internet or those who prefer physical ownership. One veteran player shared a story about their old Game Boy cartridges still working after 30 years, contrasting it with this digital-dependent setup. It's a fair point. Pokopia's cozy world deserves to be accessible to everyone, not just those comfy with cloud saves and NFC scans. The concern isn't just logistical, it's about inclusivity in a series that's always been about reaching new trainers. Parents of younger fans are chiming in too, wondering if the card's novelty might confuse kids used to simple inserts. Pre-orders opened in November 2025, and while the hype is there, these accessibility hiccups could dampen it for some. Nintendo and the Pokémon Company have teased FAQs on their sites, promising robust support like digital backups tied to your Nintendo account. But until hands-on details, the questions linger. It's a bold move for a cozy game. Why complicate entry when the whole point is welcoming warmth? Fans are hopeful it'll smooth out, but right now it's a sore spot in an otherwise glowing reception. Shifting gears to something even more intriguing, that unresolved plot thread about the missing humans. You play as a Ditto in human form, restoring an island in a world where people seem to have vanished. Professor Tangrowth mentors you, guiding this revitalization effort, but the story leaves so much hanging. Why are humans gone? Was it a cataclysm, a migration, or something tied to Pokémon themselves? Longtime fans are poring over every lore hint, and their concerns stem from how this mystery could shape the emotional core of Pokopia. Some worry it might feel too open-ended, like a cozy facade over darker undertones that never resolve. Others speculate it's intentional, mirroring real-world themes of environmental harmony post-human impact. I've read fan theories on YouTube comments sections where players connect it to sustainability messages. Maybe humans left because they disrupted the balance, and now Pokémon are reclaiming their space. This disappearance isn't just backstory, it influences gameplay subtly. As you befriend Pokémon and build, you uncover relics, abandoned human tools or faded photos that hint at what was. Fans are concerned because without closure, it risks feeling incomplete in a game that's otherwise so fulfilling. Remember the Gen 4 lore with the creation trio? That depth hooked us for years. Here the absence creates suspense, but some longtime enthusiasts fear it might dilute the coziness if the plot twists too grim. They're calling for more teases in marketing, and honestly, it's smart. The Pokémon company knows dangling these threads keeps us talking. It's a delicate balance, enough mystery to intrigue without frustrating the peaceful playstyle. Now, as we wrap up these reactions, let's tease some of those lingering unknowns that have fans speculating wildly. Evolution mechanics, for one, remain unconfirmed, but whispers suggest they could tie directly to your island's vitality. Imagine if evolving a Pokémon requires nurturing the ecosystem, planting specific flora, maintaining weather harmony, or even syncing with multiplayer visitors. What if a Pokémon only mega evolves when the island hits peak sustainability? Fans are buzzing with ideas. Maybe Peakychu, that adorable Pikachu variant, sparks up after you power a thunder-based garden, or Moslax slumbers deeper once forests thrive. It's all speculation, but linking evolutions to environmental health would be genius, reinforcing the game's themes. Could it mean evolutions aren't just level-based, but story-driven, evolving with your paradise? The potential is huge, leaving room for us to dream up builds that unlock these forms. Longtime fans love this layer. It adds replayability without combat grind, making every choice feel alive. These unknowns aren't roadblocks, they're invitations to theorize, and that's fueling the frenzy. From the cozy builds that have us all yearning for our own islands, to the mechanics that redefine partnership, Pokopia is striking a chord. Yet those accessibility worries and plot mysteries remind us it's not perfect. It's evolving, just like the Pokémon within. As we ponder these pieces, it leads us straight into the echoes of what came before, the faint traces of humanity that shaped this world. Up next, in Echoes of Humanity, we'll explore those abandoned whispers and what they might mean for your Ditto's journey. Trust me, the revelations will have you questioning everything you've built. Echoes of Humanity. What if the Pokémon world you know so well once had a secret partner in its story, one that's been missing for ages? In Pokémon Pokopia, those hints start popping up as you explore, turning your cozy island building adventure into something far more mysterious. You're out there as this transformed Ditto, gathering berries and chopping wood with your Pokémon pals, when suddenly you stumble on something that doesn't belong in this vibrant Pokémon-only paradise. A rusted metal tool half buried in the sand, or a faded blueprint fluttering in the breeze from a forgotten cave. These aren't just random finds, they're echoes of humanity, whispering that people once walked side by side with Pokémon, building, creating, and living in harmony before they vanished without a trace. Think about it as you play. Early on, the game paints this idyllic picture of a world reclaimed by nature, where you're the newcomer stepping in to restore balance. But as you venture beyond your starting island, hopping between archipelagos on the back of a friendly Lapras, or gliding with a transformed Wingull form, those artifacts begin to appear more frequently. You might be clearing a rocky outcrop with a Pokémon's Rock Smash when you uncover a cracked stone tablet etched with images of humans and Pokémon working together. Maybe a group of builders raising a bridge with the help of Machoke's raw strength. Or while foraging for rare herbs at dusk, you find a small weathered journal page describing daily life in a bustling settlement where kids played tag with playful Eevee evolutions. These discoveries aren't thrown at you all at once. They build gradually, making you question everything you've assumed about this post-human era. The developers at Omega Force have woven this lore so subtly that it feels organic to your gameplay loop. You're not pausing for cutscenes every 5 minutes. Instead, these artifacts integrate right into your resource gathering. Pick one up, and a soft narration from your Ditto perspective reads a snippet aloud, painting a picture of coexistence that tugs at your curiosity. Humans weren't just trainers barking orders in battles. They were partners in creation, using Pokémon abilities to farm vast fields or construct elaborate water systems with the precision of a Poliwag's water gun. One artifact I love imagining you finding is a simple locket containing a tiny photo of a human child hugging a Growlithe. The inscription faded but readable, "Our faithful friends." It hits you right in the feels, doesn't it? Why did they leave? What catastrophe could erase an entire species from the map, leaving only these remnants for a ditto like you to piece together? As you progress into the mid-game, around the time you've established a thriving garden and started inviting wild Pokémon to settle on your island, the lore deepens in ways that make your heart race. You're sailing to a fog-shrouded chain of islands, the dynamic weather system kicking in with a misty rain that blurs the horizon when your scanner, that handy tool Professor Tangrowth gives you early on, beeps insistently. It leads you to what looks like an overgrown ruin at first, but push through the vines with a Pokemon's cut, and you enter the abandoned lab. This isn't some shiny research facility like the ones in the mainline games. It's a relic, crumbling walls covered in moss, flickering emergency lights powered by who knows what ancient tech. Tables overturned, papers scattered, and in the centre, a massive containment chamber shattered like it was blasted from the inside. You feel the suspense build as you explore room by room, your Ditto Form's footsteps echoing in the silence. Hollow projectors flicker to life when you interact with consoles, revealing logs from scientists who documented experiments on transformation tech. And here's where it gets personal. The records point to Ditto's origins, tied directly to a catastrophic event. It turns out humans were on the brink of a breakthrough, using Ditto's innate ability to mimic and adapt as a bridge between species. They wanted to create a world where humans could understand Pokémon on a deeper level, maybe even share forms temporarily to foster unbreakable bonds. But something went wrong, horribly wrong. The logs describe a surge of unstable energy during a test, a chain reaction that warped reality itself. Pokémon panicked, habitats shifted overnight, and humans, they were caught in the epicenter, vanishing in a flash that left the world forever altered. Pause for a second and let that sink in. You're playing as that very Ditto, transformed into a human-like form to rebuild. But now you realize your existence might be the key to what happened. Was the experiment meant to save humanity, or did it doom them? The lab's central computer, after you solve a simple puzzle with your Pokémon helpers, maybe aligning mirrors with a shiny Alakazam psychic, unlocks a final entry. It's frantic, scribbled in haste. The mimicry field expanded beyond control. Ditto's core essence amplified it all. If anyone finds this, restore the balance. The echoes remain. Chills, right? This discovery isn't just backstory. It propels your journey forward, unlocking new transformation abilities that let you access hidden areas, like phasing through walls in a ghastly form to retrieve lost data drives. But the real twist that elevates the whole mentor dynamic comes when you return to Professor Tangrowth with your findings. You've been relying on this wise, vine-wrapped grass type for guidance since day one. Their calm voiceover advising on everything from optimal planting cycles to befriending elusive legendaries. Tangrowth has always seemed like a steadfast ally, a Pokémon scholar who's seen the islands through seasons of change. Yet as you share the lab artifacts in their cozy treetop study, something shifts. Their leaves rustle uneasily, and they reveal a hidden compartment in their bark-like armour, pulling out a small human-made pendant identical to the ones you found scattered around. It turns out Professor Tangrowth isn't just any mentor. They have ties to the humans, that run deeper than you imagined. Long ago, before the vanishing, Tangrowth was a lab assistant, chosen for their intellect and growth abilities to help cultivate experimental gardens that sustained the research. They watched humans and Pokémon collaborate on projects that dreamed of a unified world, only to witness the catastrophe unfold. Tangrowth survived by burrowing deep into the earth, their body adapting to the chaos, but the guilt lingers. "I couldn't stop it," they confess in a voice that's equal parts sorrow and resolve. "But you, young Ditto, you carry the potential to heal what was broken." This revelation adds such rich layers to your relationship. No longer is Tangrowth just a quest giver. They're a bridge to the past, sharing personal anecdotes that humanize the lore even more. Unfolding in your playthrough, Tangrowth recounts stories of human inventors who marveled at Pokémon resilience, like how they partnered with Bulbasaur lines to develop sustainable energy from solar vines, or the late-night debates in the lab about ethics. Should Ditto's powers be harnessed for good, or was it playing God? These conversations happen organically during downtime, as you sit by a campfire on your island, the day-night cycle transitioning to stars overhead. It makes you feel like you're uncovering a family secret, strengthening your bond with Tangrowth and unlocking exclusive perks, like advanced growth serums that accelerate your island's revival. This human echo theme permeates the game's design in clever ways. Scattered artifacts aren't collectibles for a trophy room. They influence your gameplay. Assemble enough pieces and you can reconstruct blueprints for human-inspired structures, like eco-friendly windmills, powered by electric types or aqueducts that channel water with the help of aquatic Pokémon. It ties back to the core loop of gathering and building, but now with a narrative weight that makes every action feel meaningful. You're not just playing house, you're piecing together a lost history, wondering if your efforts could somehow bring back what was lost, or if the vanishing was permanent for a reason. And let's talk about how this lore contrasts with the cozy aesthetic. The blocky, Minecraft-esque building feels even more poignant when you erect a monument to those forgotten humans, using soft, glowing blocks harvested from rare crystal onyx. Befriending Pokémon takes on new depth too. Some, like the Elder Slowking you meet near the lab ruins, share fragmented memories of the event, their telepathic whispers evoking a sense of shared loss. It's these moments that make Pokémon Pokopia stand out in the franchise. Not endless battles, but quiet reflections on coexistence and what it means to rebuild after tragedy. As you delve deeper, the questions multiply. Were all humans erased, or are there pockets of survivors in hidden realms? Does your Ditto heritage mean you're part human experiment, part Pokémon savior? The abandoned lab isn't a one-off. It sparks side quests where you track similar sites across the map, each revealing more about the catastrophe. One involves diving into underwater caves with a transformed Squirtle form, finding submerged servers that detail how Ditto's DNA was altered to absorb human knowledge, explaining your intuitive grasp of building and strategy. Another leads to volcanic peaks, where heat-resistant artifacts hint at failed evacuation plans. Pokémon like Charizard desperately trying to airlift people to safety. Professor Tangrowth's intrigue only grows from here. Their past ties make them vulnerable in subtle ways. Perhaps a rival faction of wild Pokémon, wary of human remnants, starts challenging your alliance. You defend Tangrowth in non-violent standoffs, using utility moves like Sleep Powder to calm tensions, reinforcing the game's harmony theme. It's brilliant how this twist humanizes your mentor, turning them from a distant guide into a character with flaws and hopes, much like the best Pokémon companions in the series. By mid-game, these echoes of humanity have transformed your experience. What started as a peaceful life sim now pulses with mystery, every artifact a breadcrumb leading to bigger revelations. You're left pondering the weight of it all as you watch the sunset from your customized lighthouse, a structure you built using lab-inspired designs, with Tangrowth by your side, sharing one last tale of human ingenuity. But hold on, because as we wrap up this dive into the haunting beauty of Pokémon Pokopia's hidden history, you're going to want to stick around for what's next. In the upcoming chapter, Building Towards Launch, we'll shift gears to the exciting roadmap ahead, from pre-order perks to what the final release might hold in store. Trust me, the buzz around this Switch 2 exclusive is only getting started, and you won't want to miss how it's shaping up to redefine Pokémon adventures. Building Towards Launch, the journey to Pokémon. Pokopia's launch has been a rollercoaster of reveals and rumours that kept the entire Pokémon community buzzing for over a year. From those first blurry concept art leaks that hit social media like a thunderbolt, to the closed beta tests that gave select fans a taste of paradise, every step forward has built this game into something truly special. And with the March 5, 2026 release date locked in, for the Switch 2, we're on the cusp of seeing how it all comes together. Let's rewind a bit and walk through those development milestones, because understanding the path here really amps up the anticipation. It all kicked off back in early 2024, when the first whispers of Pokopia surfaced. No official announcement yet, but eagle-eyed fans spotted what looked like concept art on a developer's portfolio site. There was this stunning sketch of a lush, overgrown island dotted with Pokémon habitats. Think vines twisting around half-built wooden bridges, Pikachu variants scampering through misty forests, and a central hub that screamed cozy customization. The art style blended that blocky Minecraft vibe with the soft, inviting charm of Animal Crossing, and it immediately sparked theories. Was this a new mainline entry? A spin-off? People were dissecting every pixel, sharing zoomed-in details on Reddit and Twitter, wondering if the human-like figure in the background was our Ditto protagonist in disguise. Those leaks weren't just hype fuel, they hinted at Omega Force's involvement early on. Koei Tecmo's team, known for their deep strategy games, like Dynasty Warriors, was reportedly brought in to handle the building and resource mechanics. Fans connected the dots fast. After all, if anyone could make gathering wood and planting seeds feel epic, it's them. By mid-2024, more leaks trickled out. Screenshots of dynamic weather systems, where rain could nurture your gardens or storms might challenge your structures. One particularly viral image showed a Snorlax variant, later dubbed Mosslax, curled up in a moss-covered hammock, surrounded by blooming flowers you'd planted yourself. The community lost it. Comments flooded in like, "This is the Pokémon game I've been waiting for. No badges, just vibes." But Nintendo stayed radio silent, letting the speculation simmer. Fast forward to late 2024, and things heated up with the official tease at a Pokémon Presents event. They dropped a cinematic trailer that confirmed the leaks weren't fan fiction. You saw Ditto transforming into a human form, wandering abandoned ruins overgrown with nature, guided by Professor Tangrowth's wise, vine-wrapped silhouette. The reveal of the post-human world hit hard, humans gone, but their echoes in faded billboards and rusted tools, all reclaimed by Pokémon. Development-wise, this was the milestone that solidified the game's core loop: explore, befriend, build. Pre-production had wrapped, and full development was in swing, with the team emphasizing sustainability themes. Interviews with Omega Force devs later revealed they'd iterated on over 50 prototypes for the transformation mechanics alone, ensuring Ditto's shifts felt fluid and purposeful, like turning into a flying type to glide over chasms or a ground type to till soil effortlessly. By early 2025, we got our first real gameplay glimpse at another event. This was huge. Clips showed real-time day-night cycles affecting Pokémon behaviours, with nocturnal friends like Jigglypuff emerging at dusk to help with evening tasks. The befriending system shone through. No Pokeballs here, just patient interactions, offering berries or playing mini-games to earn trust. Once bonded, their moves became your toolkit. Bulbasaur's Vine Whip for reaching high fruits, Geodude for smashing boulders to uncover resources. It was clear the milestones were stacking up. Art direction locked, core engine optimised for Switch 2's hardware, and a focus on multiplayer visits that promised shared island adventures without the chaos of battles. But the real game changer came with the beta testing phase in summer 2025. Nintendo opened applications for a limited closed beta, and lucky participants, about 5,000 strong, got hands-on access for 2 weeks. The insights from those testers leaked out in waves, not through malice but sheer excitement. Forums lit up with anonymised stories. One player described spending hours customizing a beachside Pokémon home, using Smeargle's alternate form to paint murals that actually influenced the island's colour palette. Another highlighted the resource gathering's depth. Chop wood with Scyther's precision, but overdo it, and you trigger a sustainability warning from Professor Tangrowth, encouraging balanced play. Beta feedback reportedly led to tweaks, like smoother multiplayer syncing to prevent lag during co-op building sessions, and expanded weather events that could flood lowlands or spark forest regrowth. Testers raved about the emotional pull too. Imagine waking up in-game to a sunrise painting your island gold, your befriended Pokémon greeting you with animations that felt alive, not scripted. There were reports of hidden Easter eggs, like discovering ancient human artifacts that unlock lore snippets about why humanity vanished, teasing deeper mysteries without overwhelming the cozy flow. Not everything was perfect. Some noted the 10 GB install size felt light for the ambition, but that game keycard format raised eyebrows. That physical card you insert to trigger the digital download? Innovative, sure, but a few beta folks worried about compatibility glitches on older Switches before the full Switch 2 rollout. Overall, the beta solidified Pokopia as a milestone in Pokémon's evolution, proving a non-combat spin-off could hook players just as deeply as any gym crawl. Pre-orders opening in November 2025 marked the final big milestone before launch. They flew off shelves, both physical game keycards and digital, with bonuses like exclusive starter seeds for your first garden. By then, the hype train was unstoppable. Trailers ramped up, showing off new forms like Peakychu, a rugged mountain-adapted Pikachu with fur like snowy peaks, perfect for high-altitude builds. Development wrapped with polished passes on the multiplayer lobby, where you could invite friends' Pokémon for visits, turning your island into a bustling paradise. It's been a masterful build-up, each leak and reveal layering on the excitement, making March 5th, 2026 feel like it's arriving too soon and not soon enough. Now, as we hurtle toward launch, the conversation's shifting to what comes after. Potential DLC expansions are already stirring the pot, and if the rumours hold, they could extend Pokopia's life well beyond the base game. Think about it. The core island is just the start, a blank canvas for your Ditto dreams. Post-launch, we might see packs introducing entirely new islands to restore. Maybe a volcanic archipelago where fire types help forge paths through lava flows, or a serene underwater realm accessed by transforming into aquatic Pokémon. Imagine diving in as a transformed Squirtle, befriending coral guardians to build submerged gardens that sway with currents. These expansions wouldn't just add space, they deepen the lore, revealing more about the post-human world through environmental storytelling, like sunken human cities teeming with adapted Pokémon. Seasonal events sound even more tantalizing. Picture limited time updates tied to real-world calendars, spring blooms bringing rare flower Pokémon for festive decorations, or a winter wonderland overlay where your island gets blanketed in snow and ice types assist in crafting igloo homes. Halloween could summon spooky variants wandering at night, offering tricks or treats that yield unique resources. These wouldn't be paywalled aggressively. Based on the Pokémon Company's history with spin-offs, expect a mix of free events to keep the community engaged and premium DLC for those craving more. One leaked dev note even hinted at crossovers, perhaps inviting legendary Pokémon for special seasonal quests, like Celebi guiding a time-bending harvest event. What makes this DLC talk so exciting is how it fits Pokopia's ethos. No rushing through battles, just organic growth, where expansions encourage replayability through harmony and creativity. You could return months later to find your original island evolved with new biomes bleeding in from DLC, Pokémon friendships carrying over seamlessly. Fans are already theorizing, will there be a desert island pack with sand sculpting mechanics using ground types, or urban ruins DLC reclaiming human tech with electric Pokémon? The possibilities feel endless, turning Pokopia into a living world rather than a one-and-done experience. And with the cozy aesthetic at its heart, these additions promise to keep that peaceful vibe intact, maybe even introducing cooperative events where global players collaborate on massive shared projects, like a worldwide Pokémon migration festival. Of course, not everything's confirmed yet. Nintendo's tight-lipped as ever, but the beta insights suggest they're listening. Testers pushed for more variety in post-game content, and DLC feels like the perfect response. It could address those lingering questions too, like evolution mechanics. Perhaps seasonal events unlock new forms, evolving your Pikachu into something even more majestic under the right conditions. Sustainability stays key. Overexpansion might risk ecological imbalance alerts, teaching players real-world lessons through fun. Pre-order bonuses already tease this future, with early adopters getting a Founder's Garden kit that hints at modular updates. If executed right, these DLCs won't just pad the game, they'll redefine how we think about Pokémon longevity, keeping your island thriving for years. As we build this excitement, consider what Pokopia represents. In a franchise dominated by battles and collections, this game flips the script to non-combat bliss, fostering connections, nurturing worlds, and letting you play at your pace. It's not about becoming the very best, it's about creating the best haven for you and your Pokémon pals. Imagine logging in after a long day, no pressure, just the satisfaction of watching your garden flourish, or a friend dropping by with their team for a casual build session. That harmony, that escape into nature's embrace, could inspire a whole new wave of spin-offs. Pokémon's future might lean more into these serene experiences, where the thrill comes from creation, not conquest. You've felt the pull of those traditional games, but Pokopia, it whispers a different adventure, one that heals as much as it entertains. And that's the launch horizon in a nutshell. Milestones met, betas conquered, and a roadmap of expansions that promise endless delight. But why does all this matter in the grand scheme? Stick around for the next chapter, Why Pokopia Matters, where we'll dive into how this cozy revolution could reshape the Pokémon universe forever, You won't want to miss uncovering those game-changing implications. Why Pokopia matters. Pokémon Pokopia stands out as a bold pivot in the franchise, proving that sustainability can be the heart of a blockbuster without a single Pokeball thrown in anger. You've journeyed with me through its cozy mechanics, its island-building dreams, and the whispers of a world without humans. Now let's unpack why this game truly matters, not just for Pokémon fans, but for the entire gaming landscape. Think about it. In an industry often criticised for its environmental footprint, from massive server farms powering online worlds to the plastic waste of endless console generations, Pokopia flips the script. Here, you're not conquering nature, you're nurturing it. The core loop of gathering resources, planting seeds, and watching your island bloom isn't accidental. It's a deliberate message wrapped in pixelated paradise. Developers at Omega Force, known for their Dynasty Warriors epics, have traded swords for shovels, creating a sandbox where every action echoes real-world eco-principles. You befriend Pokémon not to battle, but to collaborate. Pikachu variants, zapping weeds, Snorlax forms tilling soil with gentle earthquakes. It's sustainability gamified, teaching you that harmony with the environment yields the richest rewards. But how does this ripple out to gaming at large? Look at the trends. Games like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing have already carved niches for relaxed, restorative play, but Pokopia elevates it with Pokémon's global pull. Imagine millions of players, kids and adults alike, logging hours, not grinding levels, but fostering growth. This could spark conversations in classrooms where a teacher pulls up footage of your Moslax form, lounging in a revitalized meadow, asking, "What if we treated our planet like this island?" It's not preachy, it's immersive. The dynamic weather system, with rains that nourish crops or storms that challenge your builds, mirrors climate unpredictability without the doom. You adapt, you innovate, using Ditto's transformations to glide over floods or burrow through droughts. In a year when real headlines scream about biodiversity loss, Pokopia offers hope through play, potentially inspiring players to carry that ethos offline. Have you ever finished a session feeling more connected to the world around you? That's the magic it's aiming for. Now zoom out to Pokemon's sprawling portfolio, and Pokopia's role becomes even clearer. The franchise has always been diverse. Core RPGs like Scarlet and Violet for the battlers, Snap for photographers, Mystery Dungeon for roguelike fans. But sustainability, that's fresh territory. Past entries touched it lightly. The ecological puzzles in Legends, Arceus, or the conservation vibes in Pokémon Ranger. Pokopia dives deeper, synthesizing these threads into a cohesive vision. It's like the missing piece in a puzzle that's been evolving since 1996. The Pokémon Company isn't just resting on Pikachu's lightning bolt, they're expanding the brand's soul. By partnering with Nintendo for a Switch 2 exclusive, they're betting big on this peaceful path, diversifying beyond the competitive scene that's dominated esports and merchandise. Consider the business angle too. With pre-orders live since November 2025 and that innovative game keycard format, where a physical collectible unlocks the digital download, they're blending nostalgia with modernity. It's sustainable in its own way. Less packaging waste than traditional cartridges, a nod to eco-conscious consumers. And at just 10 gigabytes, it's lightweight, encouraging replay without guzzling storage. This fits Pokemon's portfolio like a glove, bridging cozy spin-offs with the mainline's ambition. Remember how Pokemon Go revolutionized AR fitness? Pokopia could do the same for environmental awareness, turning passive fans into active stewards. You're not just playing, you're part of a movement that's redefining what catch 'em all means. catching moments of balance, not creatures in nets. Yet what makes Pokopia matter most are the revelations that separate fact from frenzy. Fans have been buzzing with theories since the first trailer dropped. Wild speculations about the absent humans, whispers of hidden evolutions, even conspiracies tying it to a post-apocalyptic Pokémon lore. Let's cut through the noise with what's confirmed. Yes, the world is post-human, but not in a dystopian sense. Professor Tangrowth, your leafy mentor, guides you to restore an island that slumbered too long, implying humans left voluntarily, perhaps ascending to some harmonious elsewhere. No zombie outbreaks or villainous plots here, just a serene invitation to rebuild. Fan theory number 1 debunked. It's not a horror twist, it's a canvas for creation. Take the new forms. Peakychu, that spiky-eared Pikachu evolution, thriving in mountainous terrains, confirmed as a utility powerhouse for scaling cliffs and generating wind for sails. Mosslax, the verdant Snorlax, who photosynthesizes to heal nearby plants. Real and a perfect emblem of sustainable laziness. The alternate Smeargle form, officially revealed as a painter that doodles blueprints for custom structures, blending art with architecture. Ditto's transformations extend beyond human guise. You can morph into any befriended Pokémon mid-game, borrowing moves like Bulbasaur's vines for bridging gaps or Squirtle's bubbles for irrigation. These aren't hypotheticals, they're locked in, promising depth that fan art only dreamed of. But here's where theories hold water, setting up those tantalizing post-release mysteries. Evolution mechanics, still shrouded. Official word hints at natural progressions tied to environmental care. Nurture a Pokémon long enough, and it might adapt forms based on your island's biome. Fans theorize seasonal evolutions, like a winter Peakychu with frost tips, but nothing's confirmed. Will there be rare, sustainability-based megaforms for eco-challenges? The teasers suggest yes, but you'll have to wait until March 5th, 2026 to uncover them. And the human's absence, confirmed as intentional, yet the lore leaves breadcrumbs. Scattered ruins with faded murals depict humans and Pokémon coexisting, then parting ways. Was it a great migration? A legendary event? Post-launch updates might drip-feed answers, turning your paradise into a detective story. Multiplayer visits could even let friends share clues, evolving the mystery collaboratively. These revelations aren't just Easter eggs, they underscore Pokopia's impact. Confirmed features ground the game in accessibility, real-time days that sync with your clock, encouraging mindful play without burnout. Fan theories, meanwhile, fuel the hype, proving Pokémon's knack for community-driven storytelling. It's a delicate balance, enough solid info to pre-order confidently, yet enough unknowns to keep forums ablaze. You're in on the ground floor of something evolutionary, where sustainability isn't a side quest, it's the main event. Diving deeper, let's talk emotional resonance. Picture this, you're knee-deep in a sunset build, your island humming with Pokémon chatter, fireflies from a Jigglypuff glow lighting the paths that, peace, it's engineered to combat screen fatigue, a sustainability of the mind in our always-on world. Gaming's often about escape, but Pokopia reframes it as return, to nature, to creativity, to simpler joys. For Pokémon's portfolio, it's a diversification masterstroke. While Sword and Shield pushed graphics, Pokopia prioritizes heart, appealing to the burnout crowd weary of endless battles. It's inclusive too. No grinding for the faint-hearted, just pure, rewarding flow. How many times have you wished for a Pokémon game that lets you breathe? This is it. And the broader gaming echo? Sustainability themes are surging. Titles like Terra Nil focus on restoration, but none have Pokémon's reach. Pokopia could mainstream it, influencing sequels across genres. Imagine Call of Duty with Echo missions or Fortnite islands that heal over time. The Pokémon Company, by weaving this in, cements its legacy as more than a cash cow. It's a cultural force. Your playthrough becomes a statement. In a world racing toward climate tipping points, here's a game saying, slow down, build up. Of course, not everything's perfect. Fan concerns over the game keycard persist. Some love the collectible charm, others gripe about digital dependency. But that's the spark of discourse Pokopia ignites. It matters because it challenges us. Confirmed multiplayer means shared islands, where you and friends co-create sustainable havens, exporting ideas to real life. Theories about hidden human artifacts. They tease lore expansions, perhaps DLC revealing forgotten alliances. Post-release, as patches roll out, we'll see if evolutions tie to global player data, like collective tree planting unlocking a world tree form. The possibilities are endless, mirroring the island's boundless potential. You see, Pokopia isn't peripheral, it's pivotal. It synthesizes sustainability into gaming's DNA, enriching Pokemon's tapestry with greens over reds. The confirmed features deliver a cozy revolution. Ditto's versatility, weather-responsive builds, Pokemon-powered utilities, while debunking doomsday theories in favor of hopeful narratives. Yet those lingering mysteries, from evolution quirks to human echoes, ensure the adventure doesn't end at credits. It's a game that grows with you, much like the gardens you tend. So as we wrap this deep dive, what does it all mean for you? Pokopia matters because it invites you to join a paradise-building revolution, one seed at a time. Pre-order now and step into 2026 ready to restore, befriend, and thrive. Your island awaits. Will you answer the call? If this story resonated with you, there's so much more to explore. Tap the Pokemon playlist to continue the adventure, and save it so you'll always have something soothing to fall asleep to, or choose the recommended video for another deep dive.